GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Another Trump win, at least for now. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. A federal judge blocks the release of special counsel reports on two investigations: President-elect Trump's handling of classified documents and trying to overturn the 2020 election results until an appeals court considers a challenge. The president-elect at a press conference in Florida calls that great news and also says he'll undo President Biden's new ban on new oil and gas drilling in most federal waters.
They took away 625 million acres of offshore drilling. Nobody else does that. And they think they have it, but we'll put it back. I'm going to put it back on day one. I'm going to have it revoked on day one.
He also says he'd like to have the Gulf of Mexico renamed Gulf of America. The White House says President Biden will have protected more land and water than any other president with the creation of two more national monuments.
President Biden in Southern California today is expected to establish 644,000 acres near Joshua Tree National Park and roughly 200,000 acres in Northern California near the Oregon border as national monuments. That would also restrict mining and other development.
Fox's Jeff Benosso. President Jimmy Carter's body is being moved from his presidential center in Atlanta to the Capitol in Washington, D.C. today.
The public viewing, which opens at 7 p.m. Eastern tonight, will last until Thursday when the body of the nation's 39th president will be taken to Washington National Cathedral for a funeral service. President Carter is set to be buried in Plains, Georgia, his place of birth and nearly lifelong home. The last former president to lie in state was George H.W. Bush in 2018. On Capitol Hill, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
The parent company of Facebook and Instagram, Meta, says it's ending a program to fact-check users' posts, leaving it up to users themselves to leave notes flagging possibly false or misleading information. That's how it's done on X, formerly Twitter. America's listening to Fox News.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks VapoStick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors. Use as directed. VapoStick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
So this new dose is, nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. Waking up every day, lifting him from the bed to the wheelchair to the car to get him to therapy on time, it's no small task between the doctors and the diagnosis, but nothing can disable this love. This is my big brother, my hero. He's part of me, like my arms and legs. So I'll be his. See, there's no time for tired. This starts again tomorrow. He'll be waiting for me. I wake up for him. I know he needs me, but I'm the lucky one. Even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community, or call 877-333-5885. Caregiving Resource Center. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Annie. Get your conceal and carry with the certified experts at STS Armory. From beginners and ladies only to pepper spray, STS Armory has the class for you. Call 618-931-GUNS or stop by in Pontoon Beach at the corner of Highway 111 and South Drive.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rip my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
We need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran. I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time. You have approximately 45,000 people there. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do, they should give it up because we need it for national security. That's for the free world. I'm talking about protecting the free world. You look at, you don't even need binoculars. You look outside, you have China ships all over the place. You have Russian ships all over the place. We're not letting that happen. We're not letting it happen. And if Denmark wants to get to a conclusion, but nobody knows if they even have any right, title, or interest. The people are going to probably vote for independence or to come into the United States.
Yeah, Donald Trump, that's from today. That's from the last hour. He says people don't even know if Greenland, what did he say, right, title, or interest, which sounds to me like words that are in contracts that are bigger than I'm dealing with right now in my life. Welcome into the Annie Fry Show, 97.1. We're happy to have you here. Happy New Year once again. We carried the press conference that Donald Trump gave. He was talking about a big business deal, investment that had been made, and very exciting. Continuing to hear about these people who are investing in our country. From Fox News right now, President-elect Trump addresses the nation for the first time since the certification of his November election victory on Tuesday. Trump held a press conference at his Mar-a-Lago home just one day after Congress and Vice President Kamala Harris certified his Electoral College victory. Trump took the opportunity to announce $20 billion in new data centers across the country. More opportunity now to hear about people who are interested in investing in the United States of America, in making sure that the United States of America is a place where things happen. And that is very much so something that I can see we're right at the precipice of dramatic change in the United States. And I, for one, am very excited to hear it. Brad, the YouTube live chat poll for today, should America pursue acquiring Greenland in some capacity, yes or no? He said right there, he's like, I don't even know if Denmark has the ability, the rights to have Greenland. That the Greenland people, which I read yesterday, and Ryan's really the one who tipped us off, 56,000 people, I think, is the population.
So, yeah, I've heard 56, 57, and 68.
All right, so ish.
Not a lot.
Yeah, not a lot. Not even in the six figures, the entire country of Greenland. Donald Trump has spoken regularly about how it is a militaristic stronghold for the United States should they be able to utilize the geography of Greenland. When you hear Donald Trump talking about this, what is your initial thought on the possibility that Greenland could be in play?
Good. That's my thought. Good. I want them to go after, because I think that there's things like rare earth minerals and stuff like that that's in Greenland that would be very valuable to the United States. I think the thing that people fail to realize is how big of a role China is actually playing in the world and how much China wants to be right where we are as top dog in the world. China believes it's their right. I think I heard somebody, I think it was Jack Posobiec, he said that China's name in Mandarin is actually the Central Kingdom. And when they use that word central, they mean they want to be the middle of everything, in the center of everything. They want everything to revolve around them. Well, they have a big abundance of rare earth minerals, and that's useful in the tech industry. It's useful in military development. It's useful in all of that stuff, and we don't want to get surpassed by them. Well, Greenland has a lot, so rather than having to try to source our stuff from China, we can have it ourselves. Funny story: Russia's the biggest biggest producer of titanium. When they built the SR-71 Blackbird, which is a spy plane that they used to spy on Russia, they had to get the titanium from Russia to spy on Russia, and so they had to lie to Russia about why they were buying so much titanium. So we don't want to be in that situation with China because it's a lot harder to lie with the information and the hacking and all the stuff that goes on in these days. So I'm very much in favor of going and getting Greenland, whether it just be the mineral rights or if we get the land or whatever it is. I'm a huge fan and proponent of getting Greenland in some capacity.
It didn't really have Donald Trump coming in to office and being interested in changing the map. That's not something that when we were talking about lowering the cost of groceries and gasoline, securing the border, trying to make sure that we are safe and secure in a country that looks like, or in a world that looks like it's potentially on the precipice of World War III. I wasn't also thinking, maybe we could acquire new land. Maybe we could change the barriers and the borders of the United States of America. Not only are we going to reinforce the borders that we have, but maybe we'll expand them. There's actual conversation taking place right now about Canada as the 51st state. Yesterday, Justin Trudeau came over or delivered the news that he was going to resign. And in his resignation, he talks about how he is not able to facilitate the Liberal Party that he represents without the intra-fighting. Do you remember it was not too terribly long ago that you got to see Justin Trudeau sitting at Mar-a-Lago joking with Donald Trump about the potential of being the governor of the 51st state? That's what Donald Trump's response was. That to me was kind of like funny, look at how bombastic Donald Trump. You could just tell that Donald Trump, it's like he just won the Super Bowl. He's strutting around. He's feeling good. That feeling, you always look back on that moment with excitement and with pleasure. But 6 months, 8 months, years down the road, winning the Super Bowl feels different when it's that far back in history. So you have a little bit of strut when you do something like that. Justin Trudeau coming to, what's the phrase that I said we were going to ban in 2025? Kiss the ring in Mar-a-Lago. And all of a sudden Trump's like, you know what we should do? Canada should become the 51st state. You know what else we should do? We should make Justin Trudeau the governor of it. Then we could work together wonderfully. You know what we should do? We should acquire in some way, shape, or form Greenland. The other thing that he's saying right now, and I'm not 100% sure that I have the clip on this, and we'll get it later in the show in the event that we don't. But they're talking about, and we heard it at the top of the hour with the Fox News update. You know that the side of Florida, the westward side of Florida, where you go swimming there, the Gulf is warm, right? The Atlantic is cold. The Gulf is warm, correct?
Yes.
What do we call that? The Gulf of Mexico. Trump's like, why wouldn't we call it the Gulf of America? That is mind-blowing to me that you would look at the Gulf of Mexico and be like, it should be called America. But Donald Trump does these things. Then you go a little bit further south, and he talked about this a lot today, and he's talking about the Panama Canal, and he's talking about the terrible deal that America has with what's going on in the Panama Canal, and he's like, we should take it back. Jimmy Carter, who is currently lying in state right now in the United States Capitol, he criticizes Jimmy Carter and says that was one of the worst deals ever. You hand over the Panama Canal for $1, and what do you get? Right now, we have China controlling the intake and the output of the Panama Canal, and everybody gets a different deal, and the United States gets the worst. So these are bombastic things that Donald Trump is saying, but what you might get in this conversation that is taking place before he has even taken the oath of office is the possibility that we get a much, much, much better deal through the Panama Canal. Maybe we don't end up taking it back, but the deal gets done. And he basically moves the goalpost so that you can make progress without having to go as far as what he's saying. You move the goalpost so that when you have to give a little, when you have to sacrifice a little, when you have to compromise a little, America still gets what they want. And we do that without having to physically take the Panama Canal. That's kind of genius, if you ask me. Greenland is sitting over there, potentially controlled by Denmark. We think it's controlled by Denmark. I think the whole world has agreed for quite a while that it is part of Denmark territory. And while they're sitting over there, Donald Trump is saying, I don't think that anyone can prove necessarily, at least they haven't yet to me, can prove that Denmark is the rightful, owner, controllee, whatever, of this area in Greenland. He's like, I would like to see proof on that. And he's looking at Greenland as if it's some sort of stronghold for the United States military to move in. Now, maybe it doesn't end up that the United States takes full control of Greenland, but what if the United States is able to broker quite a wonderful deal that we can put military strongholds in Greenland and we don't have to take Greenland away from Denmark or whatever it might be? What if we don't actually acquire Canada as the 51st state, which I don't think that Justin Trudeau is going to be running for governor? What if we don't actually annex them, but we get much better trade deals with them? We get much better reciprocal participation where we aren't, if you listen to what Donald Trump says, subsidizing the existence of Canada. You hear these, people are going to, if it hasn't happened already, it'd blow my mind. But you could go on X or you could go to whatever liberal social media accounts exist that I'm not on and I don't need another social media account to manage. You go over there and I bet that they are saying Donald Trump has lost his mind. He's looking to conquer the Western Hemisphere, and they're completely missing the point. Because the first thing that they come into any conversation that has to do with Donald Trump, the first thing that they come into that conversation is that they can't stand Donald Trump and that he is a raging lunatic. And whatever happens today, they will contort in a way that makes what they came into the conversation proven true. They already have the ends determined, and they will figure out whatever they need to do to bob and weave between today's news stories to figure out how today's news stories subsidize what they already knew to be true. That's the way they function. The cool thing about this is that in 2025, it doesn't much matter. It doesn't much matter if people are freaking out over his talk about the potential of acquiring Greenland, of making Canada the 51st state. There is an actual question in today's press conference to the president-elect of the United States about whether or not Donald Trump was interested in taking Canada by military force. There was a real question posed to the guy who's about to take the oath of office here in a few short days. Are you interested in taking Canada by force? This is where we are right now, and it was a wonderful question because it gave Donald Trump the opportunity to say no. And then what does he say? By economic force. He's like, oh, absolutely not. He's like, are you crazy? I'd totally take it by economic force. That's not the direct quote, but it's close. He sets the parameters for the deal to be done. He sets the boundaries. And he goes so far in what he's asking because when he compromises, when he performs the art of the deal, he's not going to I don't think he's going to take all of those places. I don't know which ones are going to end up in United States territory or possession of America. I don't know. But my understanding of how this man works is he works in deals. And he is unafraid to take the deal by the horns and drive that sucker as far as it needs to go so he can get the deal that he wants. The difference is, and I believe this wholeheartedly, and right now, I invite you to believe this with me, and a lot of people who hate Donald Trump are not going to believe this at all. I believe that he's making these deals in the best interest of the United States of America. I don't think it's Donald Trump driven. Now, if he gets all of these deals done, is it going to inflate the ego of a man who already has an enormous ego? Of course it is. But I don't care if it's what's best for the United States of America. Because you know why? You know why? This is the fun part. This is the fun part to look and assess the people who are on the Trump derangement syndrome spectrum, maybe for all of time. The incredibly ironic part about all of this, if Donald Trump gets these deals done for the United States of America, for you, if he gets these deals done and improves the economic position of the United States here on the home front, but also globally, and it makes Donald Trump look real good, and Donald Trump knows it makes him look real good, this is the fun part. The people who live to despise Donald Trump, and you see them on TV. The reason why it grates at them so much is because it hurts their ego. They are disgusted by the egomaniac in chief, the guy who's going to take the oath of office here and be the president of the United States shortly. They are disgusted by his ego. And the reason why they're disgusted by it is because it hurts their ego. So who's the egomaniac? Because the result of Donald Trump's brazen measures is improving the United States of America. And I don't even really need to say that's my opinion. Look at the opinion of the American people. Donald Trump, in 2016 to 2020, dramatically improved the amount of support that he had in votes. And then he did it again in 2024. Amidst all of the pressure that this man has been under, against all of the lies and the hoaxes and the fake news that this man has had to face, in the face of all of it, America has said, we're picking him. And the people's egos who cannot help this, everything they do and say is about them. It's not about you. Ironically, Donald Trump aims to help this country, to help Americans, to do so first. And if it makes him look good along the way, he is A-okay with that. He is unapologetic for it. And the egomaniacs that just continue cycle after cycle after cycle to lose, their ego cannot handle it. Which is fine with me. Because they're not in it for me. They're in it for them. We'll cover more of that throughout the course of the show. A huge, long press conference that Donald Trump gave from Mar-a-Lago today. We'll talk more about that here in a bit. We have Greg Jarrett coming on the show next. Excited to talk to Fox News' legal analyst about the legal challenges facing Donald Trump. A sentencing, Friday? Just in the nick of time. What does all of this mean for the legal challenges that Donald Trump faces? How is he going to fare through this? Once he's sentenced, we've said this many times, he'll be that a title of convicted felon will suit him. What is the process set up for Donald Trump, the president-elect of the United States? Greg Jarrett will tell us when we come back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
The Retirement Advisory Group, Thomas Helbig, Bob Kershaw, Tammy Kershaw, these are the greatest people, and they care so much about your retirement that they are making themselves available to set up something free. It costs you $0 when you call 314-993-9494 and you set up that appointment to sit down with Bob, Tammy, or Thomas and have the conversation about where you are in your retirement planning. He's looking to talk to people who are thinking, my next step is retirement, and I'm just not 100% sure that I'm ready for it. Have I made all the moves in order to protect myself when I'm now living off of what I saved instead of sacrificing and setting aside what I've made? That's why they are there to help you, and it costs you nothing to have that appointment and talk to them, and then you get to decide if they are the right team for you. I think they will be. 314-993-9494, 314-993-9494. Reach out to the Retirement Advisory Group and make sure you let them know that Annie sent you. You can find them online right now at retirementkey.com.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
It's a January tradition. The Mark Cox Morning Show will be broadcasting live from the Missouri State Capitol on Wednesday for the first day of the legislative session. Sponsored by Golden Oak Lending. Homeowners get cash in as little as 14 days at Golden Oak Lending.
This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
You know, they told me that we're going to do everything possible to make this transition to the new administration very smooth. It's not smooth because they're doing that. They're playing with the courts, as you know. They've been playing with the courts for 4 years, probably got me more votes because I got the highest number of votes ever gotten by a Republican, by far, actually, by a lot. And, you know, we had a great election, so I guess it didn't work, but they're, even to this day, they're playing with the courts. They're friendly judges that like to try and make everybody happy on the Democrat side. It's called lawfare. It's called weaponization of justice, and it's happened at a level nobody's ever seen before.
That's Donald Trump from today, that long press conference that he had. The lawfare that Donald Trump has been under has been quite magnificent. And watching and seeing how he has been able to navigate this. He talked a lot today also about the fact that he's under this gag order and he is in a position right now where he can't even talk about the things that he's been charged with in that Mershon case. But we have sentencing happening here on Friday, and that's an interesting timing, don't you think? President-elect, soon to be president, but quick, let's fit in a sentencing for that wild case in New York. Let's talk to Greg Jarrett once again, Fox News legal analyst, former defense attorney and law professor. His book also, The Constitution and Other Patriotic Documents, a must get. Greg Jarrett, welcome back to the show. It's good to have you here.
Good to be with you, Annie.
When you heard that Judge Mershon was going to go through that sentencing on January 10th, were you surprised by that?
No, not at all. You know, it's abundantly clear that Judge Juan Mershon really doesn't care about the law. He cares about damaging Donald Trump in any way he can. And I think this move by him to squeeze in a sentencing just before inauguration is yet another example. He wants to stain Trump with the label convicted felon. But to do that under the law, Trump has to first be sentenced. So, you know, Mershon, not so cleverly and quite obviously, dangled what he thought would be a tempting, tantalizing offer, show up for sentencing either virtually or in person on Friday, and I promise you there will be no incarceration or probation or fine or anything at all. You know, I will give you a complete unconditional discharge. Well, you know, Trump is not going to bite, and he didn't. He shouldn't. You know, he was found guilty by a biased jury of crimes that don't even exist under the law. He was all but framed by a politically driven DA, Alvin Bragg, who then worked in concert with the activist, hostile judge, Juan Mershon, who was actually required to recuse himself under ethical guidelines, but refused to do it. He had a severe disqualifying conflict of interest. The whole thing was a sham trial. This legal theory that Bragg advanced to a gullible and biased jury was convoluted and incoherent. It was utterly absurd. And then the judge compounded all of it with a host of reversible errors. Eventually, I think this case will get overturned. But for now, Trump continues to fight any sentencing. In fact, his lawyers in the last hour were in the appellate court in New York seeking a stay. It's not going to happen by this particular judge, Associate Justice Ellen Gessmer. She's just like Juan Merchan and so many other New York judges. And it was clear from the question she asked that she's not going to grant a stay. The question is she going to wait till the 11th hour to issue that ruling? Maybe. She should issue it right away so that then Trump's lawyers can go to an even higher court.
So I've read some legal reaction to this, and they're talking about while, yes, he could be sentenced on Friday, you made the point, I think is a very important one, that Merchan's like, it's not going to be a big deal at all. Whatever I sentence you to, he's not going to jail. It's not going to be crazy like that. But the sentencing still will take place. That the actual process of moving through that step of sentencing does put the ball in Trump's court to continue the appeal process maybe quicker. Maybe I'm not even saying that correct, but I'd like you to speak to that if you could.
No, you are, and it's a bit tricky and complicated. Let's assume that the trial itself was rife with reversible errors by the judge, mistakes made by the DA. None of that can be challenged until there is a sentencing. So, in some ways, if Trump is sentenced on Friday and gets this unconditional discharge, in other words, no punishment whatsoever, he benefits because only after that sentencing does the clock begin to run and he is entitled to appeal the case on the merits, with one exception. Trump's legal team has said that the case should be tossed out because the judge, in allowing all kinds of prejudicial evidence that's protected by the Supreme Court's newly enunciated immunity standard, all of that was prohibited, shouldn't have been introduced. That immunity issue is immediately appealable right now, effective last Friday, when Merchan issued his final rejection of a motion to dismiss on immunity. So I hope I've explained it in an understandable way, but it's very complicated. So, there are appellate recourse motions to be made immediately, only on immunity. Everything else has to wait until sentencing on Friday, assuming it takes place.
Well, we are very grateful to be speaking with Greg Jarrett, the Fox News legal analyst, somebody who can give us the facts of the matter. A lot of people politically have been very interested in these cases, the lawfare, so to speak. But the legalese of it, it's complicated, like you said. And for a lot of people watching, what they want is justice, probably on both sides. But I think definitely people who've been watching Donald Trump endure what he has been put through right now. They want to see justice. They want to see fairness and, equal opportunity for people to be fettered through the justice system and come out with a just verdict. Can you tell me, in your opinion, at this point in time, can't undo anything that has been done, Greg Jarrett, to you, what would justice look like for Donald Trump?
Well, he's already won the lawfare war that was waged against him. 4 criminal indictments, 2 by Jack Smith in federal court, Washington and Florida, and then Fonnie Willis in Georgia and Alvin Bragg in New York. Now, I say he's won the war because 3 of those cases are essentially over. The only one that went to trial was Alvin Bragg, and Americans in a resounding way said, we don't care what that jury said. We don't care what you accused Donald Trump of. I think the American voters recognized this for what it was. This was, lawfare, the weaponization of the law, to try to destroy Joe Biden's and then Kamala Harris's political opponent. And it had the opposite effect. Many Americans recognized it was a sham trial with a preordained outcome, entirely politically driven, unconscionable, an abuse of the law, and it drove a lot of voters to Trump's side. And he won, decisively on November 5th. So, as I say, all of these cases which were supposed to, put Trump in an orange jumpsuit failed, and I think failed spectacularly.
Greg Jarrett speaking with us right now, Fox News legal analyst. You talked a little bit about the Alvin Bragg, the DA, the everything that was going on in New York. But we've heard stories that allege that maybe there was some collusion that took place across all of these different charges against Donald Trump. Do we have factual evidence that this was orchestrated across cases to try to get Donald Trump?
Well, there are some smoking gun documents, and I'll give you just one example. In the Fulton County Fonnie Willis case, her paramour, whom she hired and paid an absurd amount of money, one of his billing statements references 2 visits to the White House and 8 hours each. Nathan Wade. And, think about this. This is, a local prosecutor for hire in Georgia. And for the first time in his life, he goes to the White House not once but twice. And when he was forced to answer questions in a deposition, he said, gee, golly whiz, I don't remember what that was all about. Yeah, I can't really. Listen, if you're a guy like Nathan Wade and you go to the White House, you're going to remember every moment, every discussion. And so, he's obstructing. Is he committing perjury? Sure seems like it to me. That's just one example of the coordination between one lawfare case and Joe Biden's White House. And there are other indications. For example, in the Alvin Bragg case, the chief prosecutor who tried the case, where did he come from? Joe Biden's Department of Justice. He was one of Biden's hand-selected prosecutors at the DOJ, and he resigned to take the case against Donald Trump. So was that coordination with the DOJ? Sure seems like it.
It does. Greg Jarrett, one last question before we let you go. This was a little bit of news that took place late this morning. A federal judge on Tuesday temporarily blocked special counsel Jack Smith from releasing his report relating to his now suspended investigations into Donald Trump. That's the Fox News report. What are the implications of Jack Smith being withheld from releasing probably a smear job on Donald Trump? What would this report have had in it? And why did Judge Cannon say, nope, you're not going to do that?
Well, Judge Cannon said, you're not going to do that because it's unfair. The case was dismissed. And, I'm not going to allow you, at least under my authority, to publish a report containing a lot of unfounded and unproven allegations. Now, as a practical matter, A, nobody gives a damn, and B, most of what may seem incriminating was wrongfully released by Jack Smith in court documents and then leaked to the American public just before the election. So I don't think there would be a lot of surprises in there. But, it's yet another example of how Merrick Garland's corrupt Department of Justice and Jack Smith, the illegally appointed, unconstitutionally appointed special counsel, have, tried to target Trump for political reasons. And it's more of the same thing.
Greg Jarrett, we're so grateful for you. Thank you for lending your legal expertise for our listeners today. There's going to be a lot to talk about continuing throughout 2025, and we always appreciate your time with us. Thanks for being with us today.
My pleasure, Annie. Take care.
You as well. Bye-bye. Greg Jarrett, Fox News legal analyst, former defense attorney, and law professor. His book, good grief, get this book. It's like sums everything up together all in one place. The Constitution and Other Patriotic Documents by Greg Jarrett. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, Ethan is in today for Ryan Wiggins, who's taking a few days off here. And we'll talk to him about whatever he has for Wiggins America. How does he phrase it? Handsomer, better and handsomer or something?
Something like that.
Something like that. I don't know.
Failing upward and forward.
Yeah. On advice from Ryan Wiggins himself. We'll get Ethan in here to do a little Wiggins America chat. When we come back, come vote on the Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll. We'd love to see you there. Make 2025 the year you start hanging out with us and actually jumping into the conversation on the Annie Fry YouTube live chat. Should America pursue acquiring Greenland in some capacity? What do you think? Yes or no? Annie Fry YouTube channel. We're broadcasting live right there. And in the live chat of the live broadcast, you can vote. Ethan in for Wiggins America. Next. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
Do you want to kickstart planning for your retirement this year? Well, I know a quick and easy way to do it. It's a 3-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. Kind of like getting the Cliff Notes on how you could make your money go a lot further in retirement. Hey guys, it's Dave Glover from KMOX. It's never too early. It's never too late to get control over your finances and your financial future. You can do it with a one-night class taught by a fiduciary advisor from Financial and Tax Architects with decades of financial planning experience. They're held at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. You're going to learn about tax saving strategies, IRA and 401k withdrawals, Roth conversions, Social Security, and more. There's no cost. All you have to do is bring 3 canned goods for the St. Louis Crisis Nursery. There are still openings for this month's classes and next. So call 314-350-8110. 314-350-8110. That's my personal Dave Glover KMOX number, 314-350-8110 for Financial and Tax Architects.
Today's YouTube live chat poll on the Annie Fry Show. Should America pursue acquiring Greenland in some capacity? Yes or no? We want to hear what you think on it. Think about it. Trump spoke on it earlier today in his press conference, and he thinks it's vital to national security. We want to know what you think. Jump on Annie's YouTube page, youtube.com/@AnnieFryShow, and vote, or I'm sorry, youtube.com/@AnnieFry. And vote
get it
in
right,
the poll.
Brad.
I'm sorry, it's a lot. Vote in the poll. Tell us why you voted the way you voted. And tell us what you think. We might read your comment on air. The time is 12:44. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
JerryKelly.com.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
Coming down like an Armageddon flame. The shame, the ones who died without a name. Yeah, the dog's howling out of key to a hymn called Faith and Misery. And bleed, the company lost the war at end. I beg to dream and differ from the hollow lies.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Thanks for being with us this afternoon. We appreciate you spending some time with us and getting into the news. The cycle that we have been watching right now has been breakneck pace. We saw Donald Trump at the press conference at Mar-a-Lago earlier, and we were watching. We aired the press conference. I don't think we took the questions on 97.1, but one of the things he talked about was the Gulf of Mexico. Now, you know the Gulf of Mexico. We all know the Gulf of Mexico. He would like to make a change.
We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate.
I mean,
this is AI, right?
This is not AI. This is real. This happened, and I am dramatically amused by it. Again, going back to what I said earlier, there are people who are going to come out of their skin when they hear that Donald Trump would have the balls to change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. There are a million places where countries refer to areas with different names.
Yeah, how do you even, I mean, I'm trying to figure out how you, I guess, change that. Like, what is the process to change that to the Gulf of America?
I don't know.
Say, hey, Mexico, you're going to have to call this the Gulf of America now. What is the process outside of, like, for your own country?
He's probably going to allow them to continue to call it the Gulf of Mexico in exchange for border security. That's a win. That's a win. It's so funny to me. And it's so funny to me.
It's going to be the American Ocean now, not the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah, exactly. It makes me probably sinfully giddy inside because we have been losing for so long. It has been so painful for the last 4 years to watch Joe Biden come out and, in many cases, say the stupidest things because they're just stupid things. He doesn't know. Oh, gosh. We're going to play later. I don't know, Ethan, if you saw this since you were out yesterday. Did you see the happy birthday song?
No.
Don't look it up. We're gonna do that
Trump
in the 2 o'clock
that too?
hour. No.
Oh.
Not yet. Just wait for it. It's maybe an all-time best Joe Bidenism ever. It's so funny because you can see it coming. You know the jokes that you can see walking their way in and you're just like waiting for the punchline?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's pretty much every time Biden speaks now.
I was going to say, it's like that. Sadly, Joe Biden is the punchline, but we'll do that in the 2 o'clock hour. We'll share the video on the live stream as well.
Are you beyond the point with him? Like, I still feel like for me, when he speaks, when he talks, when he does things, I still am like, oh, please don't, like, oh, don't mess it up or don't be the punchline of the joke just because.
Do you feel sorry for him?
I don't know if I would say sorry is the right word, but it's the same way that when my dad public speaks, I'm like, don't do anything stupid. Don't say anything
Joe Biden?
stupid. No, but I think, I process it in the same
Mr.
way
Hannaford?
of like he is our president still. I don't want him to look stupid in front of the rest of the world and make us look worse.
Well, I mean, I would think if it's a loved one, like a parent or something like that, or for a parent, certainly I know this is watching your child go up in front of people. You brace yourself for the secondhand embarrassment that you will feel for that person that you care about and love. And I would presume, Ethan, that you care about your country and you don't want your leader to be making a fool of everybody involved.
So I'm asking, do you feel that still for him? No, not at all. It's like, whatever, burn, baby.
No. He has no business being the president of the United States, and there are a million reasons why he shouldn't be, and it's not as if it's not in the realm of possibility that he could rectify that for himself. He's in there because of Joe Biden, and that's shameful. So when he embarrasses himself, go on with it.
Fair enough.
It's the only thing we have coming out of this whole system of the Biden administration that gives me any pleasure at this point.
Wiggins!
All right, Ethan. How did you refer to your version of Wiggins America?
Oh, geesh. I think something along the lines of younger, more
smarter, better
looking, something like that. Yeah, younger, smarter, better. We can roll with that. That kind of has a nice roll off the tongue.
Has a nice ring to it.
Love you, Ryan. So it's almost impossible to not have a Wiggins America with some sort of connection to sports when I'm talking about it. But I think that this is a pretty cool connection. Recently, there has been some movement within college football that I don't think is coincidental. Perhaps it's because one person kind of started it and it's just kind of caught on. But there has been some serious movement within, like I said, specifically college football, of Christians all of a sudden putting it out there and declaring Jesus as their Lord and Savior on national television in interviews following wins, following losses. Not that this is necessarily a new thing, but it seems like
there's a boldness.
Exactly. That's the perfect word for it. There is a boldness right now where it's just catching a little bit more attention, I feel like. And we have seen this from a number of different big-name college football athletes in the college football playoff, which you could argue is at the height of its popularity right now, with it just moving to 12 teams. More teams in it means more fans, more attention around it.
Go Irish.
Go out in perfect transition. Riley Leonard, transfer quarterback for the Irish this year, had something really cool to say. Now, this wasn't in a post-game field interview. This was in a press conference following, just talking about the growth that this Notre Dame team has felt together this year.
One of the biggest bragging points about this team is we have like 40 guys show up to our Bible study sometimes on every Thursday, and that's really a credit to them. It started with like 5 guys, but it's grown to like 40, and this team is just so close, and everything that we do as a unit.
So something I think is really cool about this is because it's really easy after you win to say, hey, all glory to God, we win, we thank you, Jesus, for getting me here. But it's cool to see that in the trenches, like, these guys talk about, like, hey, this is actually like a weekly part of our daily part of our lives, and it's more than just like, oh, I won, so I'm going to give the praise to God.
I see people who are critical of I just want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Those people, they come up to a microphone and they win a game and they give glory to God for that. And the naysayers out there, I suspect that many of the naysayers don't have a strong faith walk by choice, whatever. But they're like, oh, you think Jesus made that ball find the end zone for your team,
right,
because you guys prayed harder or you worked harder or whatever? You think God did that because God's a fan of your team? And I encourage people who hear that and are very skeptical of those comments to make sure that you listen to these players. And I encourage players to pay attention to phrasing too. The talent that these individuals have, the biology that these individuals have, the place in life, the opportunity to play the game, that's what the glory is. That's what they're referring to when they're praising God for that. And the truth of the matter is, I've seen this a lot too. It's not just people who are winning that are taking the spotlight that is on them and saying, I just want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for this football game win.
I think it's even more meaningful when it's following a loss. Now, obviously, ESPN, CBS, these networks aren't interviewing on the field, on the court, players from the losing team immediately after getting that raw reaction. So you don't tend to necessarily get that, like, oh, we just lost, I want to thank my Lord and Savior. But you do get that, and you are getting that in some of these post-game press conference interviews. And Boise State, one of the other teams that made the college football playoff, they lost to Penn State in the first round, and they're led by head coach Spencer Danielson, and he has had clearly a huge impact on his team, and he is very outspoken about his faith. And this is one of his players, Ahmed Hassanain, commenting on the impact that he's had on him this year.
First, I want to start off and say, all glory to Jesus Christ. He's the true champion. Coach D, you changed my life. You changed my life. I did not know God until I got to Boise State. And I serve a true champion. Jesus Christ is the only true God. He died, rose from the dead 3 days later. That's the champion that I serve. And thank you, Coach D. Seriously, you changed my life.
No one's going to argue that losing sucks, because losing does suck. But being able to recognize that there is more to life than the result of the game, and following probably the most heartbreaking loss of this kid's career, for him to be able to reflect and say, Coach, you changed my life, like, that's pretty freaking cool to me.
It's super powerful. And I think that being able to see, it's all about perspective. And, I'm a Christian. Ethan, you're a Christian. Brad, you're a Christian. Obviously, Ryan is a Christian as well. So we come from this walk of faith. We don't have a highly diverse kind of faith that exists on this show. And we talk about this because this is who we are. If we were of a different type of faith, we would talk about that, because it's anybody who has a strong faith, that's foundational to who you are as a person, I would hope. Whatever the faith might be, but I think that perspective is so valuable when it comes to this particular. This is just a detail. This isn't sports, but you change the details. The perspective still needs to be the same. Like the first, the last. When it's your faith, everything else, like losing. Was that a playoff game?
The
Boise State?
Yes.
Losing a playoff game at that level, which, the participation in and the money in the NCAA football program right now has never been bigger. Losing at that time is devastating. But when you have the perspective, when he's sitting there at that press conference and he takes the opportunity to say, like, all of this really sucks, but there's something that you need to know that I have. And taking that opportunity to say that, I feel strongly that there is a culture shift that is taking place that is bigger than just football, that is bigger than just a specific lane where you see winners, thanking God for that win and, carrying the wide receiver into the end zone or whatever it is. Brad, do you see culture across the board? People are just more bold everywhere, in my opinion, to be talking about their faith.
Yeah, it seems like people have tried doing what, the secular humanist worldview has said. They've tried it. Well, listen, we'll be quiet. We'll let you guys do your thing. You do your thing. We'll do our thing and that. But over time, it's like we can't just keep being silent anymore. And I'm going to talk about what's in me and what's in my heart. And if you like what you see in me, then here's what it is. And let me tell you more about it. I mean, they're not just talking it, they're walking the walk.
I also think it's very important to remember that we have been listening to how people identify for 15 years now as the be all end all. And if you're not in that lane, you're supposed to sit down and shut up. You need to know your place.
Yeah.
Especially you two white men. I got the female thing going for me right now that maybe my voice is a little bit more important than the men that are out there. Of course that's outrageous. It's stupid. It's ignorant. People are tired of sitting down and being quiet about who they are. And if we're going to listen, I'm not telling anyone else to shut up, but I'm also saying I'm not going to shut up. And I think you see these people when they get the opportunity to speak to America after a college playoff football game. They're like, I'm talking to America. I'm going to use this for something that is important to me, and I am unafraid.
Gives me hope for the future.
It's huge. The culture shift is huge. Let us know what you think. Andy Fry YouTube channel. You can leave a comment there. Also, vote in the polls. Should America pursue acquiring Greenland in some capacity? Yes or no? We'll be right back.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Good news, bad news. In court for President-elect Trump today, I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. A New York appeals court says no to delaying Trump's sentencing Friday on criminal hush money charges, but a federal judge in Florida is blocking the release of a final report on 2 Trump investigations.
The ruling by U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon bars special counsel Jack Smith and Attorney General Merrick Garland from releasing the report, while the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals considers an emergency motion from 2 of Trump's former co-defendants in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. Trump's lawyers, who have read the report, had asked the judge to intervene, saying the report's release would unfairly affect ongoing litigation against Trump valet Walt Nauta and Mar-a-Lago property manager Carlos de Oliveira. Cannon, who was appointed to her seat by President Trump in 2020, already dismissed the documents case against him last summer, saying Smith was unlawfully appointed.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers, President-elect Trump calls the report's release being blocked good news, and taking questions from reporters in Florida, says he would not rule out the use of military force to seize control of Greenland and the Panama Canal for national security reasons.
Giving that away was a horrible thing. And I believe that's why Jimmy Carter lost the election, even more so than the hostages.
The American hostages held in Iran during Carter's last year in office, 1980. After 3 days at his presidential center in Georgia for people to pay their respects, Jimmy Carter's body arrives in Washington, D.C. today to lie in state at the Capitol Rotunda. His funeral at Washington National Cathedral is Thursday morning before a return to Georgia and burial in a family plot next to his wife Rosalind at Jimmy Carter Historic National Park.
The magic dragon.
Peter Yarrow from the 60s folk group Peter, Paul, and Mary died 86 years old. He'd been fighting bladder cancer. The band had 12 top 40 hits, including Puff the Magic Dragon, Leave It on a Jet Plane, and Day Is Done. America's listening to Fox News.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks VapoStick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors.
Use as directed. VapoStick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
So this new dose is, nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
It's a new year and a new semester, and I want to talk to you about LESASTL.org, LESASTL.org, your pathway to improving the educational environment for your child or for your grandchildren with a very simple website visit, LESASTL.org. If you are disenchanted with the public education system, with the opportunities and the environment that your kid, that your grandkid is being educated in, you owe yourself this free website visit, LESASTL.org, to learn about the over 30, I think it's 37 elementary Lutheran schools in the bi-state region in Missouri and Illinois. The opportunities are endless for your child, for your grandchild, to learn in an environment that suits them, that respects what is right and what is wrong, and teaches about forgiveness. Do you know what I'm saying? You don't have to be a Lutheran to go to a Lutheran school at all. I went to a Lutheran school when I was a kiddo, and I went to school with kids who were Baptist, who were Catholic, who were all sorts of different religious walks of life, people who didn't really have a faith walk themselves. But their family valued the education, the environment that was provided at a Lutheran school, and I encourage you as well to offer that to your child and grandchild. It is affordable. It all starts at their website. It's Lutheran Elementary School Association, lisastl.org/Annie.
Are you worried about the state of the economy? Concerned about market crashes and rising inflation wiping out your savings? At Noble Gold Investments, we understand your fears and have a solution. Call us today at 1-888-403-1050. Imagine safeguarding you and your family with a tangible asset that has stood the test of time. Gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can diversify your portfolio and protect your wealth from economic turmoil. Our team will guide you through the process, ensuring you make informed decisions that best suit your needs. Call Noble Gold Investments today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
When the weather is the story is on 97.1. With live local updates and up-to-date forecasts from 97.1 Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray. Your local source for what's important. 97.1 FM Talk.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show, the YouTube live chat poll for today. We want to know what you think. Should America pursue acquiring Greenland in some capacity? Yes or no? We've got a few people who have reached out and commented their thoughts so far. Betsy said, yes, why not? That's kind of simple. I see your point. Jackie said, yes, in some capacity for security purposes. Let's make a deal mutually beneficial. And Dirk said, I chose yes, but I would leave it up to the citizens of Greenland. When you listen to what the citizens have said, I mean, the citizens, there are 56,000 of them. We could probably get a majority of them to weigh in on the issue, and they could take a vote, and we could abide by whatever that vote ends up being. You can go on social media and see that right now Charlie Kirk and Donald Trump Jr. are in Greenland, and they're talking to the people of Greenland about what's going on.
Okay, we are here in Greenland with Don Jr.
Everyone wants to be on TikTok.
What do you guys think of America?
Great.
You love America and you love Trump?
Yes, of course.
The youth of Greenland, Don.
We're hearing a lot of it, guys. We're hearing a lot of it.
And you guys all watch TikTok, right?
Of course. I'll follow you.
Oh, thank you. It's live from Greenland.
So you've got the two people who are top-tier leaders in the MAGA movement that helped get Donald Trump reelected. But, of course, when we say get Donald Trump reelected, we're talking about getting an America First mentality back in the White House. It's bigger than one man. It's bigger than Donald Trump. And Charlie Kirk may have been one of the single most influential people in making that a possibility, making that happen once again. Every day you wake up and you look at the news cycle and you see that people are, they're just weird things that are shifting. There are weird things that are changing. People who are participating in the movement, people who are now interested for some particular reason in a different way of doing things. That it's, to me, it's pretty impactful to watch it happen. But you do also have to be conscious of what these people might gain from participating now. Like, oh, so there's a different person in charge. Of course, you want to make sure that different person has the ability to play the game, and they were doing it quite differently when Joe Biden was in office. When it comes to social media, when it comes to people who were at Twitter, different than Elon Musk, of course, when it comes to Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, we're watching as he is dramatically shifting his position on how Facebook is managed and what Facebook has to offer the American people. He released this video, and he has quite a lot to say, and we're gonna sift through it here on the show.
I want to talk about something important today because it's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram. I started building social media to give people a voice. I gave a speech at Georgetown 5 years ago about the importance of protecting free expression, and I still believe this today. But a lot has happened over the last several years. There's been widespread debate about potential harms from online content. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more. A lot of this is clearly political, but there's also a lot of legitimately bad stuff out there.
So I'm going to interrupt Mark Zuckerberg right now, and if you're like me, all you're doing is sitting here thinking, Mark, you're the problem. Like, you were the problem. So before you go and listen to some of the things that he might offer here as solutions, you have to ask yourself, are you open-minded enough right now to listen to what Mark Zuckerberg has to say? Is it possible that Mark Zuckerberg can change? We've seen a lot of people over the course of the last 10 years dramatically change their opinion on Donald Trump. Brad, when you think about Mark Zuckerberg, I mean, he doesn't need money.
No.
He's not doing this for money. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't mind having more money, power, but I always go back to the guy who's the vice president-elect of the United States called Trump Hitler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I look at Mark Zuckerberg, one of the things that I immediately think of is this guy's super intelligent. I think he went to, go to MIT or something like that?
I don't know. I watched the movie.
Yeah, The Social Network. But he went to one of those type of schools, if not MIT. And he's not stupid. And I think one of the markers of a highly intelligent individual is the ability to admit whenever they got something wrong. And I think what he's been doing is looking at maybe his intentions whenever he put these other things in place at Facebook were pure. Maybe
could his intentions have not been the same as the outcome?
Yes, absolutely. I think right there, what he said was, but there's also a lot of bad content out there. And what he wanted to do was shield people from that bad content. But as he got into it, maybe things got knotted up, and he's finding out that maybe like a small group of people aren't the best way of doing this. Maybe.
And you said something there that he wanted to shield people.
Yes.
The other question is that his responsibility?
Well, no. And maybe that's something that he realized too. It's like, hey, this isn't my responsibility. I mean, I go back, like, in light of this video and going back and looking at all of his stuff that he, like, in front of Congress and all that other stuff, you could almost look back and maybe see somebody that was looking for guidance rather than being...
he's a bellwether.
Yeah.
There's no one who's done what he's done. He did it first.
Right.
And he kind of unintentionally created this. A good comment here from a listener here, I think it was Mark, said Elon pivoted.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important. Elon Musk has not always been the Elon Musk of the MAGA, ultra MAGA, rock star MAGA, right? That's not who Elon Musk always was. And we had to look at his evolution, which I don't think you can evolve in these places and change because you're provided more information, more perspective. Maybe you've learned a tough lesson. Listen, I don't know where I am on Mark Zuckerberg. My Facebook page, I work my butt. Can I say that word? I can say that word. Not butt. In my house, we say booty. I work my booty off to make the Annie Fry Show Facebook page be a destination for my teeny tiny little Saturday 2-hour show on 97.1. That is where I focused my efforts to build a community so that I could hopefully have some success on this show in a greater capacity than 2 hours on Saturday. And it was a part of helping me reach people who were interested in participating in the family that is this show. I think Facebook helped me gain success because I was able to use social media in a way that helped me grow. So I'm grateful for that. But in 2020, I have been at 19,000 likes or follows or whatever it is on Facebook since 2020. I go in and I look at, I'm adding followers all the time, but the number never goes up. I don't understand it. I don't get it. And I am not nearly the most bombastic person I'm not I'm not that girl. I hear from you folks all the time. You could go check right now. You think you follow me on Facebook? Go check, because a lot of you did, and now for whatever particular reason, you don't. I have not been able to get over 20,000 people on Facebook for years. But I've been at I think it's 19,922 or something. Can't get over 20,000 for the life of me. Don't know why, but it sure happened during COVID. And I personally put that on Mark Zuckerberg. It bothers me. So I have a personal reason to dislike this man. But I also have to ask myself, could he change? And if he changes, can I have an open enough mind about him to embrace a positive evolution in what he has to offer people when it comes to social media? Because just like Elon Musk, it would be wildly beneficial for the First Amendment and the United States of America if free speech existed there.
Drugs, terrorism, child exploitation, these are things that we take very seriously, and I want to make sure that we handle responsibly. So we built a lot of complex systems to moderate content. But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people. And we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. More specifically, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes, similar to X, starting in the US. After Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote nonstop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy.
Can we just highlight here that you have Mark Zuckerberg? He's sitting at a desk with a pretty nondescript panel wall behind him and his super curly hair, and he looks like he's been working out. He does not look like a android anymore.
No, got a little color to his face.
There's something about him that's different. But he's talking about X in a complimentary way. He's talking, did you hear him say legacy media? These are important choices of words for Mark Zuckerberg.
We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US. So over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notes system. Second, we're going to simplify our content policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are just out of touch with mainstream discourse. What started as a movement to be more inclusive has increasingly been used to shut down opinions and shut out people with different ideas, and it's gone too far. So I want to make sure that people can share their beliefs and experiences on our platforms. Third, we're changing how we enforce our policies to reduce the mistakes that account for the vast majority of censorship on our platforms. We used to have filters that scanned for any policy violation. Now we're going to focus those filters on tackling illegal and high-severity violations. And for lower severity violations, we're going to rely on someone reporting an issue before we take action. The problem is that the filters make mistakes, and they take down a lot of content that they shouldn't. So by dialing them back, we're going to dramatically reduce the amount of censorship on our platforms. We're also going to tune our content filters to require much higher confidence before taking down content. The reality is that this is a trade-off. It means we're going to catch less bad stuff, but we'll also reduce the number of innocent people's posts and accounts that we accidentally take down.
So when you listen to him saying this, they're no longer going to be the thought police. Like the question that that I asked you, Brad, before when you say he wanted to shield people from that. He's saying, I'm not going to be your shield anymore, and that's going to come with some consequences. All you poor little people out there reading Facebook might see something you don't like. Tough cookies.
Yeah.
That's just the way it's going to be, and it does. Yeah, if you don't like it, You don't have to like it. You don't have to physically participate in it. That's fine. Good for him for saying, we're going to err on the side of letting truth out there before we decide to take things down.
Fourth, we're bringing back civic content. For a while, the community asked to see less politics because it was making people stressed. So we stopped recommending these posts. But it feels like we're in a new era now, and we're starting to get feedback that people want to see this content again. So we're going to start phasing this back into Facebook, Instagram, and Threads while working to keep the communities friendly and positive. Fifth, we're going to move our trust and safety and content moderation teams out of California, and our US-based content review is going to be based in Texas. As we work to promote free expression, I think that it will help us build trust to do this work in places where there is less concern about the bias of our teams. Finally, we're going to work with President Trump to push back on governments around the world that are going after American companies and pushing to censor more. The US has the strongest constitutional protections for free expression in the world. Europe has an ever-increasing number of laws institutionalizing censorship and making it difficult to build anything innovative there. Latin American countries have secret courts that can order companies to quietly take things down. China has censored our apps from even working in the country. The only way that we can push back on this global trend is with the support of the US government. And that's why it's been so difficult over the past 4 years when even the US government has pushed for censorship. By going after us and other American companies, it has emboldened other governments to go even further. But now we have the opportunity to restore free expression, and I am excited to take it. It'll take time to get this right, and these are complex systems. They're never going to be perfect. There's also a lot of illegal stuff that we still need to work very hard to remove. But the bottom line is that after years of having our content moderation work focus primarily on removing content, it is time to focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our systems, and getting back to our roots about giving people voice. I'm looking forward to this next chapter. Stay good out there, and more to come soon.
So Mark Zuckerberg here, again, I don't know what I think about this. I don't know if I'm like, gosh, Mark Zuckerberg is the next patriot. He's going to be wearing a MAGA hat soon. You don't need to wear a MAGA hat in order to show me that you are America first. That's not a requirement. He's saying the right things. He's admitting that they made mistakes, and he's saying we're going to offer solutions that fit in the system similar to what Elon Musk has set up on X, and that they're going to work with Donald Trump to make sure that free speech prevails across the world. I don't know what to do with it. I'll tell you this, though. This is preferable to status quo at Facebook. So I wonder what you think about it, and I wonder if it makes you feel like you're like you're. Are you at least leaning in? I'm leaning in. That's all. I'm not going to say fool me once, fool me twice. You know the thing. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm leaning in. I got an eyebrow raised, maybe even two. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, Paula Scanlon's going to join us. This is wonderful. She's with Early Vote Action. You know Scott Presler, who basically won the presidency back for Donald Trump by turning Pennsylvania red. Well, they've set their sights on another state, New Jersey. What do I got to do to get him to come to Illinois? I don't think they think that that's in play yet. But what if it were? New Jersey coordinator at Early Vote Action, Paula Scanlon's going to join us and talk to us about their pursuit of turning New Jersey red. Paula Scanlon, when we come back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
STS-Armory.com. Your Second Amendment flex is inside the doors at STS Armory. Katie and Jesse are experts at everything Second Amendment. And when you are looking to protect yourself, when you are looking for knowledge, if you're looking to acquire a specific firearm or an accessory, you go to STS Armory and they know everything. I mean, I've never asked them a question that they couldn't give me a detailed response. Like, okay, yes, you can buy this. Oh, you can't buy that right now because the state of Illinois is, you know how they are. They'll help you. They will help navigate what you are trying to get and make sure that you are well within the law. And they will help acquire that piece. Specifically, I can talk about this now on the air. My husband wanted to buy for a family member a very specific thing for a firearm that a family member had, and they were able to get him exactly the thing they want. I think it had to be made to order, and they did it at a breakneck pace. It was wonderful. If you are interested in something firearms and you're in the state of Illinois, find them at 618-931-GUNS online at sts-armory.com.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
or if that resume was from someone who
worked 12-hour shifts at the recycling company with my dad, who's 72. That taught me a work ethic that I carry with me every day.
we rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone.
Growing up where I did, a lot of things could have gotten in the way of my goals, but I learned to push through, and that's what I bring to work every day.
So maybe it's time we look beyond the resume and look to Grads of Life. Discover new ways to develop great talent that are so much more than what's on paper at gradsoflife.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Congressman Bob Andre. You know, at the end of the day, it made sense. We cannot waste time. We have to get to work.
The Mark Reardon Show. Weekdays from 3 to 6, right here on 97.1 FM Talk.
We just had a slam dunk for the Republican Party. We have a trifecta. We delivered the White House, Senate, House. And look, for all intents and purposes, 1/4 of Pennsylvania's border joins with New Jersey. There are a lot of shared values. And so one thing that we're going to be doing, Steve, from the spring and summer, all in 2025, is going to Wildwood. That's where Philly goes to the beach. Let's register voters and get both New Jersey and Pennsylvania.
Well, here on the Annie Fry Show, you certainly know that voice. That's Scott Pressler, who we've been talking to since he's been having dumpsters delivered to Baltimore to just clean up streets. And in doing so, in that amount of time, since he's been coming on the show, he essentially flipped Pennsylvania for Donald Trump. It's been wild to watch his progress, and he is committed to staying in Pennsylvania and continuing his efforts there. But as you just heard Scott Pressler talking about, he's taking his efforts also to New Jersey. And that's how we get our next guest. Paula Scanlon joins us right now, New Jersey coordinator at Early Vote Action. And you can follow her, and I encourage you to do so on X at Paula Y. Scanlon. Paula, thank you for coming on the show with us today. It is a pleasure to meet you and talk to you.
Thank you so much for having me on today.
Of course. So we've seen the walk and the talk from Scott in Pennsylvania, and now we get to point to the scoreboard and put measurements of success behind it. New Jersey next. Tell us why New Jersey and what kind of success you're hoping to see there.
Absolutely. So New Jersey honestly even surprised me. I've been hearing whispers. I saw that Wildwood rally that had over 100,000 people there for President Donald J. Trump, which was crazy. But what I saw in the numbers was the results of the election. New Jersey flipped 11 points from 2020 to 2024. What other state in this country had a shift that was that radical? And I've grown up in the Northeast, and I used to have the belief that the Northeast was not worth fighting for, that there was no way a Republican would ever be elected in any major position, or even that the state would go red. But after seeing that, we're saying, wow, no, New Jersey might not even just be a purple state. It might even be a red one. So we have our eyes now set on the governor race that's happening in 2025. So New Jersey is one of those off states that does the governor election in an off year, not with midterms. And we are trying to get a Republican governor in New Jersey.
I think it's so inspiring to hear, Paula, that essentially what you are saying, what Early Vote Action, who you are with, is saying is that New Jersey is worth it. It's worth the time. It's worth the intention. And it's worth the support that people here in our bi-state region. I'm in St. Louis, so I live in Illinois. We could talk about that. And we have a very blue state on the east side of the Mississippi and a very red state in Missouri on the west side of the Mississippi. So when you feel like things are just predetermined, it kind of makes people a little bit apathetic. In New Jersey, are you seeing energy now going into that governor race that will take place this year where people are like, yeah, let's make this happen. Let's put our feet on the ground and see some change in action here?
Absolutely. I mean, I spent the last several days on phone calls with people in all different counties from New Jersey, dying to get involved, dying to have help, dying to get Democrats out of leadership positions in their state. I was on a phone call a couple minutes before I hopped on here with a guy who was very eager to get involved and help, and again, turn out voters for a Republican governor and more Republican leadership. So hopefully if you win the governorship, right, that falls down a little bit, and you're going to have people in the state Senate and the state House that are Republicans as well, and people want to see change. And the biggest thing that we're seeing in New Jersey is affordability. People do not like the cost of things. I mean, homeowners can't afford to buy homes. Renters are being screwed over. There's a lot going on, and people are upset about the cost of things. And none of the Democrats have showed any desire to fix that or any tangible plans to actually fix these things.
Paula Scanlon is with us right now. She is with Early Vote Action, and she's working to help flip New Jersey red this year as they have a important midterm race, I might say, that takes place in 2025. I've got some numbers here from the NewJerseyGlobe.com. New Jersey Republicans outpaced Democrats by more than 2-to-1 margin on voter registration in 2024, reducing the Democratic voter registration edge to 896,000, down from over 1 million 4 years ago. So the numbers are trending this way, just like you were talking about the difference in the 2024 election results. You're talking about affordability for New Jerseyans. When you are focusing on getting a message out, do you keep the message really narrow? Do you touch on all of the issues that maybe a red voter versus a blue voter might be interested in, or do you just keep it in the lane of the economy?
We definitely branch out. I mean, I just listen to the people. I have been talking to people who live in New Jersey and just hearing what hits them. And when we go to certain areas, obviously hitting on things that are closer to home. But what I've noticed is the thing that's come up every single time is the affordability, is these high costs, these high home prices, all of those different factors. And so obviously that's the general thing that people are struggling with. We're going to continue to bring that up, but we are looking at smaller issues. We're hearing from all the different people. And again, we're just trying to show them that there is people that are listening, we are listening to them. Republicans do have their best interests at heart, and we're encouraging them to say, okay, you're unhappy with what's going on. Now get out there and go vote in November, or vote early before then, and put a Republican in a government position.
We're speaking with Paula Scanlon here on the Annie Fry Show, and we're talking to her about the efforts from Early Vote Action to move not away from Pennsylvania, but really to add New Jersey into the mix. How do people who are listening to our show right now, middle of the country, St. Louis, Missouri, a lot of Illinois listeners as well, like I said, where I'm from, how do we watch what Early Vote Action is doing in New Jersey, support your efforts there, and then maybe take some notes about how we could use those here in our hometowns?
Absolutely. I mean, you can get on our website, earlyvoteaction.com. If you're so inclined to donate, you're welcome to do so. Not going to make you. But you can also look at the voter registration tools, because there is resources for other states. But just talking about grassroots efforts to get these things done. I mean, it's not this fancy organization. It's not, a ton of money. It's just getting out to highly populated areas and talking to people and saying, hey, are you registered to vote? And encouraging them to go out and vote. And that's really what it comes down to. And you can do that wherever you live. And I know there are people in other states that are dying for us to come expand. And the goal someday is to look into other states and continue to grow this operation and teach people how to take an election and win through the grassroots efforts, which is exactly what this is. It's really mobilizing local people that are just excited and passionate about this and just want to better their community by electing leaders that actually have their best interests at heart.
I have the Early Vote Action app on my phone. I was always paying. I'm showing it to our listeners here right now. Just pulled it up. Scott Pressler is very persuasive. He tells you to do
you
something.
Can write letters too.
Yeah.
That's something people have done from other states. So
talk to me about that.
Please get on there.
If you download the Early Vote Action app and you get on there, what can people do from the comfort? I mean, we've got a lot of snow here right now. Maybe you do too. Where
you
you're
can
at.
write letters to people. That helped a lot in Pennsylvania. And so you don't have to be from the state. It's just again encouraging people. There is something for everyone in this country to do and to help. And it's not exclusive just to New Jersey, right? We're still staying in Pennsylvania. Scott is also talking about Wisconsin. He's talking about everything. And so this is not just we're only in one state. This is everywhere in this country. We want to save this entire country, not just focus on one state.
Yeah. And watching Scott's efforts, and like I said, we've talked to him for a long time before I remember when he was like, I will not. I was like, maybe 2022, maybe after the midterm. He's like, I am not leaving Pennsylvania until I've registered everybody here. And then he did it. And then we won Pennsylvania. Who saw it coming? Paula, we hope to be talking about you in the same way at the end of this year when those New Jersey election results come in. And I, as an Illinois voter, passionate about my home state, know that it's very blue, know that there's a lot of corruption that exists in the blue state nature of Illinois. We'll be taking copious notes on how you guys move through this New Jersey effort. We hope for great success, and we'd love to have you come back on and tell us how it's going.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for just giving us the time to talk about this. And again, we're all in this together. So anyone listening, we'd love to have your help. If you want to get involved, check out earlyvoteaction.com.
You bet. The app. Thank you. Get the app. Absolutely. Paula Scanlon, we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you. So it is so wonderful to see the expansion of Early Vote Action. Actually, I should say this, the establishment of Early Vote Action that came amidst Scott Pressler's efforts to win Pennsylvania, and to be able to see it expand into something, Early Vote Action, that is now going to New Jersey. If you're like me, I mean, if you're an Illinois voter, okay. If you are somebody who is in Missouri, yeah, I know a lot of you who are in Missouri who used to be in Illinois. I know it. And you're asking me, maybe even right now on our socials, Annie, just move. Just do it already. I get it. I understand it. My family is in Illinois. My home is in Illinois. And I would like to fight to save Illinois. And when I see New Jersey get put into the conversation, I go, well, why not us? Why not here? So I'll be watching very carefully what Paula is able to accomplish in New Jersey. And gosh, sometimes I want to throw myself completely into the whole mix and just say, let's actually dedicate ourselves to getting some common sense back into government for Illinoisans. It absolutely needs to happen. A quick break here. When we come back, I'll read a few more of your comments on the YouTube live chat poll. Should America pursue acquiring Greenland in some capacity? Yes or no? Mark said, I chose yes. Allow the Greenlanders maintain their identity and culture and lower our cost of natural resources and increased security militarily. Gosh, that is a wonderful case, Mark. I stand by all of that. And Hunter, talking a little bit about our discussion at the beginning of this hour, Mark Zuckerberg and his recalibration of how information is policed on Facebook. He's making a lot of changes. He's making a lot of promises. I think we are all in a maybe trust but verify, if not just verify. What is to happen there? Hunter asks a very important question about Mark Zuckerberg's transformation, evolution here. Will they be bringing back the poke feature? Wouldn't it be funny to go back on Facebook and start poking people again? How weird was that? I am in favor also of bringing it back. Thank you, Hunter. Quick break. When we come back, a few more of your comments on the YouTube live chat poll. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
RulerFoods.com. We went to Ruler Foods over the holiday break and stocked up for having 6 people in the house as much as we possibly could. We're like, we're not going anywhere. We're going to Ruler Foods. We're getting stuff in our pantry, and we are going to enjoy the savings. I encourage you to do the same as well. You can save on fresh produce, like a 5-pound bag of mandarins. We've got some of those in our house at the moment. 8-pound bag of navel oranges, $4.99 each. A 3-pound bag of Gala, Pink Lady, or Granny Smith apples, $2.99 each. Save on that fresh fruit. You know you're buying fruit right now. It's January. You're buying fruit, but you want to spend less on it. Go to Ruler Foods. You can also save on Kroger 73% lean ground beef sold in a 3-pound roll, just $3.33 a pound. Heritage Farm leg quarters sold in a 10-pound bag, 69 cents a pound. And Kroger Big K 12 packs, 3 for $9 when you buy 3. You can also have those savings delivered directly to your door. If you go online, you will see all of the Ruler Foods that are located around you, around your work, around your church, or home. Just so it makes it super convenient for you to save on your grocery bill. You haven't gone in one yet. Make today the day. You'll be glad you did. RulerFoods.com.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Today's YouTube live chat poll. Should America pursue acquiring Greenland in some capacity? Yes or no? We want to know your answer to that. It's kind of the topic du jour. Charlie Kirk and Don Jr. are over in Greenland right now. So we want to know what you think. Jump on Andy's YouTube page, vote in the poll, and leave us a message telling us why you voted the way you voted. The time is 1:43. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
JerryKelly.com.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Is this a song that inspired the Zumba conversation last time?
I feel like it might have been.
That's all I could think about is Zumba when I heard this.
We do need to get me and Ryan in Zumba.
I need to check the schedule right now. I need to go to a Zumba class. I need to go. I think I could take my oldest daughter if she would not be too embarrassed to do that with her elderly mother. I need to go check that out and see if I can still do that in a way that would. I feel like I would be better at Zumba than you guys. That's kind of the bar that I have set right now. But it's it's for fitness. Do you want to? Are you doing any New Year's health things?
Yeah, I'm gonna start tracking calories and stuff like that, and make sure that I'm regular at the gym like I should be. So I'm trying to go about 3 times a week, do weight training and cardio.
What kind of calorie tracking are you doing? Can we talk about it? I didn't ask you.
I'm gonna use an app, and I've got a goal.
MyFitnessPal?
That's one of them. I've used that one. I've used Zoom. I've used a bunch. What was the other one? Runkeeper. But MyFitnessPal works great because you can just scan it with a barcode.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to use, that app, and I'm going to, scan in my calories. I got my caloric goal that I'm trying to hit, a little bit of a deficit to drop a few pounds and get back to where it was.
What's your caloric goal?
My caloric goal is 1,800 calories.
Yeah.
So I'm basing that off of, the idea that an average person should have 2,000 calories.
And you're a full-size man.
Yeah, I
so
should probably have more than 2,000 calories to maintain.
I was hoping you weren't going to say something too stupidly low.
No, but I'm trying to do that as a starting point. So I'm trying to be reasonable. But then also my app connects to my Fitbit, and my Fitbit, whenever I do exercise.
Why do you say that like you're from the South?
I don't know. Do I say it like from South?
Fitbit.
Fitbit.
How do you spell that? Feet. F-E-E-I-T?
But it tracks my exercise and adds that, and then I get bonus calories so I can eat more, which is great at the end of the day.
I get bonus calories. I quit when I was training. I'm going back into my Blue Angels preparation, but I have no Blue Angels to fly with. And I probably knew in February that it was a possibility. I think I found out for sure. Was it March? It might have been later than that. No, because I did most of my training for that knowing that it was a possibility. And I thought, well, what's the worst that could happen? I end up getting fit in a way to sustain, what did I do? 7.5 Gs for 9 seconds?
Yeah,
or was it bigger? Was it 7.5? I think it was 7.5 Gs.
7.5 Gs, yeah.
I told my husband I need to go back and watch that video again. It's been far enough in the past that I think if I watched it again, I would almost be kind of experiencing it again, as opposed to just referencing. If you're new to the show, if you didn't know this, if you were paying attention last year, you know this, but I flew in an FA-18 Super Hornet with the Blue Angels last year, which is the craziest thing I've ever done. I've had 4 children. That was wild. That was crazier. But I trained for it, and I did weightlifting 2 or 3 times a week, and I went to a medical provider that was helping me kind of guide my nutrition, and I appreciated this so much. And this is, I don't want to give anyone advice because you should go to your doctor and you should talk to them about what you're doing. But I'll tell you what worked for me and what I'm getting back into the swing of doing for myself. I am not ever going to count calories again, but I am 100% going to count macros. And I was doing 100 grams plus of protein almost every day. And in order to eat 100 grams of protein, you have to be very specific and intentional about finding things that have protein, especially if you're like me and you're not really a huge carnivore. I am in no way, shape, or form a vegetarian, but do you know anyone else who doesn't eat meat off of a bone who will eat meat but can't eat like a fried chicken leg?
No, you're kind of the only person that I know. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm not sorry. I've always had this aversion to the thought of putting a piece of like fried chicken or whatever, if you're eating that and it just feels so much like an animal part. When I have a steak and it's just on my plate, it doesn't feel as much like an animal part.
Does like a ribeye or a T-bone steak bother you?
Isn't ribeye like super fatty?
It might be. I'm just trying to think of the cuts that actually have a piece of the bone in it. Like a T-bone steak will actually have a piece of the bone in it.
My husband does all the cooking and especially meat preparation, and I will eat a pork steak, and if it's got a bone in it, I just cut it off, and I just don't. I don't want to be putting I don't want to be consuming bones inside my meat. I just don't want to do that. I had to go over 7 different ways to say that in my head, and that's the best I could do. I don't want that. I hate the way it makes me feel. It turns me off to the whole process of eating carnivorously, so I just don't. And I never liked it growing up. My grandma would make great fried chicken, and it'd be on the table, and it would, these, when you're talking about people who grew up like through the Great Depression, and these are people who made food. It was real food the way they made it. You put fried chicken on the table, and it does taste great, but I hate it. Oh, my gosh. You get a bite of gristle, and I just...
Oh, yeah, no, that's not great.
You get a tendon or something going on, and I mean, even the words of that makes me nauseated. I was repulsed by it, but I liked the chicken. It wasn't like I didn't like the meat. I just didn't like that part of it. And it always makes me wonder, like, the meat that I would be willing to consume, like, how many things has it had to go through to get to the place where it's palatable for me? And then, like, how far away are you from the actual product being the way it is? But if you're not somebody who's like, oh, yeah, let's have, a chicken breast or whatever it is every night, or some sort of steak and there's bones and all that stuff. If you're not that person, it becomes harder to eat protein. 100 grams of protein, 40 grams of fiber. That's what I tracked. And when I worked to get that, I was eating 1,400 calories a day on the regular.
Yeah.
And I was never hungry, and I have never felt healthier.
Protein has a way of filling you up. And it, when you're like, oh, what's 100 grams of protein? I was actually doing this because I think I read somewhere that to lose weight, you should have 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, or 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight. And that will help you, and it'll help you stay full longer. That's a lot of protein. It's hard to get to that amount.
Yeah,
so
that's why I eat Greek yogurt, which I have right now. I drink a protein shake, and you got to find a protein shake that tastes good, but also doesn't have a billion grams of added sugar and all that stuff. Rick says, hate to tell you, Andy Fry, all that processed meat came from an animal with bones. Listen, I don't like to eat processed meat either. I like to eat steak that just isn't with the bone. And I know they come from animals. That's not new information, Rick. I know that. I just don't want to put the bone in my mouth. There, I said it. I don't want to do that. It's gross to me. It doesn't bother me if other people do it around me. I just don't like it. And going back to what I was saying about my grandma, when she would make that food, I would always feel guilty for not eating it. And she would, your grandma, this is a different time, your grandma would make you a meal. You're going to eat that meal. We all grew up that way. And I didn't want to do it, but I would go through the process. I remember being probably a senior in high school, maybe a freshman in college, and being like, I hate this. I've hated this my whole life. And I think I officially am not going to do that anymore. I'm okay with that. It doesn't hurt you for me to not eat the chicken leg.
It's so funny that my grandma was like, you will eat this. My grandma was like, do you want to eat this? And I was like, yes, absolutely. And I would lie to my grandma and tell my grandma that my mom didn't make us dinner or breakfast or whatever, just so she would make us food and I could have some of my grandma's cooking. That kind of is what helped get me into trouble to begin with. Oh yeah, Mom told me that. And she would come home because my grandma would chastise her. It was like, you don't feed them kids. And she's like, guys, I fed you lunch.
Rick says, so Jared could cut the meat off the bone for you. That's what he does. And I mean, like, he doesn't cut my meat for me, but if he's making pork steaks, it's not, I mean, when you make pork steaks, and listen, I'm talking to local people here. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you're not from here and you should learn about pork steaks.
Yes.
They're huge.
Yeah.
So if you're going to cut them in half anyway, you can cut one part that doesn't have the bone in it, and I just eat that.
Yep.
And someone says, no ribs for Annie. My husband will, oh my gosh, Annie, you have to try this. This is so good. And because he gets ribs from somewhere. So he gives me a bite of the rib meat and I eat it. I just don't want to be the person like with barbecue sauce all over my face talking about how good the ribs are. That's really not in my, that's not really in my repertoire. But I eat meat.
Yeah.
I just don't seek it out. And the truth of the matter is you could have a perfectly good piece of really good quality meat, and then there's like something chewy or springy in there. I'm done.
Something that's not the right consistency.
As soon as I bite on that and it pops right back at me, I'm toast. That is not happening. Give me some salad.
Oh man.
Or a potato.
I'm just trying to imagine what it would be like to be able to live without, like, or to not even like meat. That's just odd to me.
Josh says, so sucking the marrow out of the bone is a no-go. Yes, sir, you've inferred correctly. No. Fiber is hard, too. If you're not, I mean, I think it's important if you're in your, like, health journey. I've been paying so much attention. Jillian Michaels, please come on my show. I am a huge fan. I went to see you at Stiefel when you came and spoke here over a decade ago, and I was listening to you talk about what is in our food and why American diet culture is so toxic, because there are people who are selling you solutions that are not connected to the actual problem, and and it's never been more front and center than it is right now. Jillian, I want to talk to you. I've watched you on The Biggest Loser. I watched you on your podcast just recently where you defended the good things that came with The Biggest Loser. And I want to amplify this thing that I don't know anything really about. And the annexation of the RFK Jr. thought process on where our food comes from, what is done to our food, and how willfully and stupidly we've just accepted what we put into our mouths and digest, and then we're like, oh, why are we overweight? Why are we tired? Why do all my joints hurt? When you realize that there is a smarter way to choose the foods that you eat, I'm like, tell me more about this. Tell me everything about this, because I want to make those healthy decisions, and it's just hard. There's so much information out there, and you always feel like someone's selling you something. When it comes to healthy eating in our country, everybody's thinking about this in January, even if you're not making some sort of dramatic New Year's resolution or whatever. I think everybody's kind of going, okay, that party was wild over the holidays, and I'm going to temper it down. Like, everywhere you look is a cookie or a cake or, you know, some sort of carb that's looking at you going, I'm real tasty. And you're like, I want to get back to the place where I have some level of self-control. And then maybe some of you are making a little bit more promises to yourself. When you realize that you're up against everything everywhere you go, and now we have a political movement that is in favor of, I heard just recently, I don't remember which soda it was, but that RFK Jr. is going to make them replace their high fructose corn syrup with cane sugar or something like that. It was some soda company. These are the things that I assume that we need to be doing, but I want to learn more. I want to be educated on them. And I think it's a really interesting movement within a political climate right now that we are going to learn a lot and go, well, man, I've been having all of these symptoms so long. You mean I've been poisoning my body with the healthy food that I thought I was eating? Tell me more. YouTube live chat poll. Should America pursue acquiring Greenland in some capacity, yes or no? What do you think? Go vote us. Go vote in the live chat poll. It's on the Annie Fry YouTube channel on today's live broadcast. Back in a minute.
Are you worried about the state of the economy? Concerned about market crashes and rising inflation wiping out your savings? At Noble Gold Investments, we understand your fears and have a solution. Call us today at 1-888-403-1050. Imagine safeguarding you and your family with a tangible asset that has stood the test of time. Gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can diversify your portfolio and protect your wealth from economic turmoil. Our team will guide you through the process, ensuring you make informed decisions that best suit your needs. Call Noble Gold Investments today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Hi, I'm Uzo Aduba, and right now medical information is not regularly being shared within the research community, but you can help change that. Patients can help accelerate research by sharing their information and unique experience.
Everyone's experience with cancer matters, including my own.
If you're a cancer patient in the U.S. and its territories or Canada, you may be able to play a part in accelerating cancer research and uncovering new breakthroughs simply by sharing your patient data with researchers around the world.
My unique experience can make the difference of life and death to some of the people in my community.
It is in our stories and data that the answers can be found.
Join Stand Up to Cancer, Count Me In, and thousands of patients like Maeve, Bridget, and Joel in this movement.
For our family.
For our friends.
For us all.
The information is out there. Together we can unlock it. Join in at standuptocancer.org/countmein.
Abraham Lincoln was the first. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News, and Jimmy Carter will be the 13th president to lie in state of the Capitol Rotunda for the public to pay their respects. His body arrived at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland on a flight from Atlanta, where people have been paying their respects since Saturday. Fox's Mark Meredith at the arrival ceremony.
The first stop today for President Carter's casket is going to be over at the U.S. Naval Memorial before he makes his way over to the U.S. Capitol Rotunda. We're going to see some of the dignitaries have a chance to pay their respects in the Capitol this evening before they're opened up to the public at 7 o'clock tonight till midnight. And then the public will also have a chance tomorrow to pay their respects as well throughout the day before the funeral over at the National Cathedral.
That's Thursday morning, then back to Georgia for burial in a family plot. President-elect Trump announces investment in new data centers in the United States by a development company in the United Arab Emirates founded by a Trump family business partner.
DMAC will be investing at least $20 billion over a very short period of time into the United States, and they may go double or even somewhat more than double that amount of money.
Trump at that press conference in Florida says it's good news. A federal judge in Florida has blocked pending appeal the release of special counsel Jack Smith's final report on 2 Trump investigations. An appeals court in New York, though, refuses to pause Trump's Friday sentencing on criminal hush money charges. The House passes its first bill of the new Congress, the Lake and Riley Act.
Dozens of Democrats join with all House Republicans in supporting the bill named after the 22-year-old Georgia nursing student whose convicted killer was in the U.S. illegally. The bill would require ICE to detain illegal immigrants accused of burglary or theft.
It's just good, solid policy that needs to be into effect now.
Republican Mike Collins of Georgia is the bill's author and has been in contact with Lake and Riley's family.
It's Fox's Ryan Schmelz in D.C. A Senate vote's expected later this week. America's listening to Fox News.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors. Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
So this new dose is, nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
The surge from the north continues on this Tuesday afternoon. Partly sunny skies, though the winds will be light, 25. Tonight, clear, down to 6. Wednesday, sunny, 22. Coldest will be Wednesday night, clear skies, and 3 for the overnight low. Thursday, sunny and 28. Friday, some snow possible Friday afternoon, but lots of questions, 28 on Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
A 2024 survey by Navitas Health Solutions reported that 48% of Americans have been unable to fill a needed prescription at least once due to the cost. RX Outreach, an online nonprofit mail-order pharmacy based in St. Louis, is committed to providing safe and affordable medications for everyone. They offer over 950 medicines for chronic illnesses and conditions and ship to all 50 states, regardless of insurance, without membership fees or copays. Contact RX Outreach at 314-222-0472 or visit rxoutreach.org.
It's a January tradition. The Mark Cox Morning Show will be broadcasting live from the Missouri State Capitol on Wednesday for the first day of the legislative session. Sponsored by Golden Oak Lending. Homeowners get cash in as little as 14 days at Golden Oak Lending.
Well, Donald Trump was giving a press conference earlier today. When you sit and you watch Donald Trump speak at a press conference and then take questions for maybe twice as long as the actual press conference was for, compare that to what we have in the Oval Office right now. It is astounding. This was the announcement that the president was giving from Mar-a-Lago, a new
Point
investment.
of telling people if you invest $1 billion or more, and we'll do this for people with far less too, but we guarantee it. We're going to move them quickly through the environmental process. Sometimes people held up 12, 13, 14, 15 years. I saw it with plants in Louisiana where I got it approved in literally a week. They were through the review in 1 week after spending 14 and a half years trying to get it, and they were going nowhere. It was a terrible thing. So I've been a victim of that myself over the years.
So that was the announcement of, along with the announcement with the investment that was being made and adding to the announcement, the idea that if you're going to invest in this country and the companies in this country, that they're going to make it their business. If you invest $1 billion or more, they're going to make it in your interest to fast track that process. There are so many obstacles that you have to overachieve to accomplish when you're trying to do something. Litigations, regulations, things that have been thrown in the way that makes progress very difficult to do. And it's good to see Donald Trump saying, we're going to get rid of a lot of that. And I think that you're going to cut spending. You're going to lower the agencies that exist in our government from 429 or something to 99. That's what Elon Musk keeps saying. You're going to have to get rid of some regulations because there's going to be less people in place to police those. Here's something else he said at this press conference
I'm
today.
a former very successful president. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We had borders that were sealed and beautiful. We had everything was good. We had no wars. We defeated ISIS. We had no wars. Now I'm going into a world that's burning with Russia and Ukraine, with Israel. You took a look at that attack on October 7th, the attack on Israel, with the horrible way they got out. Not the fact that they got out. I would have been out before them. But we would have been out of Afghanistan with dignity and strength as opposed to looking like a bunch of fools.
So coming into this presidency, his second term, with the world being on fire, you don't have to take his word from it. I think a lot of the things we said this, we had this conversation with Paula Scanlon, who is the New Jersey coordinator at the Early Vote Action, the efforts to try to turn New Jersey red, which I got to think in New England with New York City and everything up there, that if people had a place to go in the Northeast that wasn't as obnoxiously blue as some of those places are, that could be a very good thing for New Jersey, for their prosperity. But she was talking about affordability being at the top of the list. And I think that's why a lot of people did vote for Donald Trump. In honor of Ryan Wiggins, who's not here today, Fox Business has a story out about fast food. How much does it... Okay, Ethan, when you go... How often do you go get fast food for you and your wife?
Very rarely. I mean, maybe... We've been married now 7 months. It's maybe like... Excluding like road trips where like that's the only option. I would say maybe a couple of times.
Because
Super
you don't
rare.
like fast food? Because it's super expensive?
Oh, no, not at all. Because it's the easiest way to get off on a budget, I guess I would say. And it just stacks up very quickly. It's also not very healthy for you.
Yeah, completely. And if it is healthy for you, it's really expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get cheap things. It's almost like the cheaper it is, the crappier it is for your health.
Checks out, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Brad? If you're going, how often do you go to get fast food and you're buying for 2 people?
Man, how often? Once, maybe every 4 months.
Good grief. So I have a family of 6. And if I'm going to a fast food restaurant and we're, between point A, B, C, D, and E, and we're not going to be home all day, and we're going to go get food somewhere, if my family goes to a fast food restaurant, it's $60 to $70.
Man,
that's crazy.
That's insane.
We have, myself and my husband, but my son is 15 now, so he eats like an adult. My oldest daughter is getting to the point where she can eat like an adult, and then I have 2 kids. It's almost stupid to buy a meal for a kid because the prices are not really they're not cheaper. And you get less food. So for us, generally speaking, we'll get like one adult meal and split
Unless
it
you're at
between the kids.
Culver's. You ever had Culver's kids meal deal?
I don't know.
It's a bang for your buck.
Do you have to be of a certain age to get it?
Nope.
Terry gets it.
When I go to Culver's, which isn't very often, that is the move. Is their kids
cheeseburger,
meal.
fries, and a
cheeseburger is
treat?
Pretty much the same size. You get a treat with it, and it's a smaller fry. That's the big thing. But it is. I couldn't give you the price comparison right now, but it is a much better deal.
I gotta imagine it's dramatic.
Yeah.
What's a good draw? You think Culver's is doing that to bring families in? Because my family, if I'm going to McDonald's has a box value meal. I don't know. We might get it maybe once a month, and it will be when you're on the road, and you're at a tournament or something like that, and you got to feed everybody. You got to feed them fast, but it's got like a few burgers in it. It's got like 100 chicken nuggets. It's not that many. I don't know. I don't eat them. And fries. And the value is there, but it is like you're feeding your family this, and you're like, oh gosh.
Right. But
basically, all I'm doing is making them not be hungry.
Yeah. Sometimes, with a family of 6, Andy, do you guys meal prep like on the weekends? Do you like just cook for the week?
No.
How do you guys have time to cook?
My husband cooks, and he is like, when we're in, they've been out of school for like 2.5 weeks now because they had 2 weeks of break and 2 snow days. He's usually got a protein thawing out in the sink in the morning when he goes to work, and we will have pasta or meatloaf or I don't know, burgers and chicken.
But he cooks every night.
The reason why I don't feel terrible as a parent going through McDonald's is because my kids eat home cooked meals most of the time.
Wow, that's impressive because, especially, 4 kids. That's a pretty good amount of children that you guys got going on there in the Fry household.
It's not just food; everything is expensive.
Yeah,
it's wild.
But more so the time that it takes to put into like those home cooked meals and that good quality food. That's no joke.
We have a fresh vegetable.
Uh-huh.
So it's usually salad. All of my kids will eat salad. And
good for you guys.
Fresh chop. It's cheaper to buy a head of lettuce and to chop it up. So we have a big bowl of greens that can be eaten. It's not iceberg lettuce. It's like romaine or something. And then our standard salad toppings include boiled eggs, bacon bites, which Jared will make fresh sometimes. It depends on how much time he has. Red onions, cheese. I think sometimes croutons, and ranch. And it's full fat ranch. None of that fat-free stuff. It tastes terrible.
So did you answer the question that you asked us of how often you guys do that?
Fast food. I don't think my family eats fast food. Certainly not as a whole family. I would say we eat fast food less than weekly. But the thing that we will do, we're throwing nutrition to the wind and we're feeding it's comfort food and we're making them not be hungry, is we get Papa John's pizza.
Fair enough.
We live close enough to a Papa John's where there used to be a carryout pizza. You could get a large pizza carryout for $7.99. One of the reasons why I ended up wanting to move into town, because we used to live in Hamel and they didn't have anywhere to go eat at the time. They had one bar.
You see tumbleweeds in Hamel?
Less
go along there.
Less these days, but it's possible. There's some farmland out there. It's a wonderful, wonderful place, and there's so much going. It's like funny to say there's so much going on in Hamel, but there really is. If you're looking for,
they have a Dairy Queen now.
They don't have a Dairy Queen.
Oh, never mind.
They do have an ice cream place.
Got too excited.
They do have an ice cream place. It escapes me, but I've heard wonderful things about it. It's at the 4-way stop.
The only one.
Yes, and it's across from the bank.
It's the most likely spot to see the tumbleweeds too.
Yeah, that's true, especially now. It's important to feed the kids healthy food as much as we can, but then when it comes to getting pizza every once in a while, you just have to be like, it's just time for pizza.
Yeah, totally.
And when we moved, quote, into town, I was like, we are going to have food delivered to our house. That I'm so excited about being in a place where when we need the convenience of food showing up at your door ready to eat, that's what I think we have maybe had pizza delivered to our house, maybe food delivered to our house one time that we are in our 9th year of living there.
You guys are doing all right.
Well, it's
parent-wise, I mean, like parent quality-wise, like that's impressive. I'm thinking about having the combination of having 4 kids and cooking every night. That's the part that gets me. I don't even cook every night. Like I meal prep at the beginning of the week.
But you don't. But like that's the thing. Like what you're thinking, it's a ton of kids. You got a lot going on.
Yep.
And it would be very difficult to do that. It's unaffordable not to.
Yeah, but if I'm saying like I cook at the beginning of the week, it goes in the fridge, and I have leftovers throughout the week.
Yeah. Our weekends are full. we don't have weekends.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, if like this weekend, we've got a basketball tournament all this week into the weekend. It'll go through Sunday. I specifically don't sign my kids up for the only club sport that my kids have played. My son did baseball, but that was the baseball that he played. It was not in addition to, a city league or a local league or whatever. Sure. That's just kind of the way that goes. But I mean, I could do hours and hours on club sports for kids and how devastating I think that they are. There are a lot of places who do it right, but there are way more places who are doing it wrong.
I think it depends on the level of club sports because there's certainly, like, I guess for lack of a better word, low enough club sports to where they're not detrimental. But yes, I would completely agree. Even, and it's not, here's the thing is it's not even like the higher levels of club sports are now in just about every town. It's not like it's a select like, oh, it's only in like the big cities kind of thing or like around the big tournaments. It is spread out to where like even as I was growing up, I mean, seeing like just some of these people that I go to school with, like they have no lives outside of their sports. And I love sports. I want to be in sports as a career. But like, man, I can understand why none of these kids were burnt out by 15 or 16 on their sports.
It's their childhood.
Yeah.
The childhood has now been monetized. And here's the scam. And this is what frustrates me. There is a very small percentage of children who are going to take that extra participation, that extra effort into athletics to a degree where it's going to benefit them in a way other than learning how to play on a team, learning how to have a skill, learning how to dedicate something to better yourself in something. There is an incredibly small percentage of kids who are participating in these club sports who are ever going to see scholarships, pro sports. And, I say that kind of laughing because there's like hardly any opportunities for girls to even participate in a professional athletic capacity that would sustain you for any amount of time. You do not make life-changing money as a female in sports pretty much anywhere. Maybe more so now with the name, image, likeness opportunities that exist in college. But again, the sport is what gets you the attention, but what you do with it, I'm thinking of, is it Olivia
Dunn?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know her name. I think, is she a gymnast?
Yes.
SEC school?
LSU.
LSU. That's what I know about her. She's beautiful.
She's
a bazillionaire.
Yep.
Probably because she's beautiful.
But she got big through TikTok.
Yeah.
And now she might be number one in college sports right now as far as NIL.
Girlfriend?
Mm-hmm.
I know more about it's Paul Skeens, right? Pittsburgh. Did he win the site or the rookie? What is it?
Rookie of the year.
Rookie of the year?
Yeah.
I know more about him than I know about her. And does she have more money than he does? It's probably close.
Probably. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to process. Like, he's on a rookie contract.
Yeah,
still.
but it's a Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, rookie contracts aren't anything special usually. So yes, I would assume that she has more money than him.
To get back to the original point, though, you have children who are like 9 years old who are being treated like free agents. And the agency that represents them are their parents, who you cannot be objective about your child's ability as a parent. You will grow over time, likely, in being more objectively aware of where your child lines up athletically comparative to their peers, because they will gain opportunities and they will lose out on opportunities. So the world will kind of tell you what you maybe weren't accepting on your own, or maybe you'll be surprised that the talent and the skill level continues to build. But we are treating our children like cattle because this is the way club sports usually works. There is a premier team in whatever club. Pick a sport: baseball, soccer, hockey, volleyball. I don't know what else there is, but I'm sure that it expands across every athletic opportunity. There's a club, and there is a premier team club at that club. And those kids are probably going to go somewhere, if they still like the sport they're participating in, once the opportunity has the ability to pay off. The clubs then sell the premier attention that top team gets, and they will fill as many teams underneath the success of that premier team. They will fill as many teams as they get applicants. So then everybody is playing club sports. Everybody is in the select thing. You will lose 50 to 75% of your year to 2-3 times a week practices and all weekend tournaments, traveling all over the place, spending a ton of money that most of us don't have. And in many cases, the team that these kids are playing on, and I say this as somebody who, if my kids were participating in these sports, they wouldn't be on the premier of premier level of whatever that club has to offer, I don't think. Like, I'm aware of that, and I am interested in potentially if my son or my daughter shows particular talent and interest in committing because they've chosen to do that, giving them the opportunity to succeed at a better level. I have no problem with people who are out there who have that special gift and that special talent. You'll see it with kids who have musical talent. You'll be like, oh my gosh, that person has a gift. And then they do things, and they travel, and they challenge themselves, and they get opportunities to succeed, and they might see that come to fruition in a matter of time where it benefits them on a life schedule. But when you're taking away the childhood of these kids in the hopes that it's going to manifest into something that is, like, at the end of the day, financially beneficial, I'm just really not interested in doing that for my kids. And I have, especially in the wake of all of the things that have been injected into youth entertainment and like the messages that are, like, there are so many people trying to get to my kids. There are so many things trying to steal away my children's innocence, my children's time, my time with my children, that I have very, very much so put up this massive guardrail along with my husband around my kids and said, no, this childhood will be as protected as it possibly can be for as long as it can be, because once it's gone, it's gone. And I wish that there was a way to inject a little bit more team mentality into the sports that kids are playing. And you can't do that when every kid is playing for themselves. And I mean, it's not an exaggeration. If you've been involved in select sports, you know this. Mid-season, everybody starts jockeying for their next team and their next position. Kids are missing games for the team they're on to try out for teams, playing on other teams in front of kids who are showing up and dedicating themselves on the team that they're on. It's so gross.
It really is no surprise
they're
that
children.
It really is no surprise that, because this is really that first generation that has been raised like that you see this in college sports now. I mean, it is completely adopted and taken over the college sport base that is name, image, and likeness.
It's all self.
Yeah, it's all self.
And when you're watching bowl games, I mean, not the playoffs, but when you're watching bowl games and you got players out, quarterbacks who don't play in that bowl game because they're going to maybe move to another school and they've already announced or whatever it is. It's just like, this sucks. There's nothing for a fan to give into. And it starts when they're like 6. Barf.
And that would be an interesting conversation as to, how much of this is coming from. And it's something that I haven't really thought of as someone who is around it a lot and is very passionate on the changes that college sports, I would say, have seen. That is an interesting perspective of how much of it is coming from, like, this is how a lot of these kids were raised. Because, like you said, the kids that, are now turning into adults that we're watching on the big screens on Saturdays and Sundays and football and basketball, like, they are the ones that were on some of those top teams.
Yes.
That's where they came from.
Right.
So they have grown up, and this is what it's about. This is how this goes. And all of a sudden, we're seeing it really have an effect on the pace of the game. Because no one really cares unless you're a parent at that club level, right? No one cares because no one's watching it from a neutral perspective.
Right.
But all of a sudden, when it gets to this level of sports, now it's an issue.
Yeah. And I listen to so many athletes and so many coaches, especially when it comes to baseball, which is what I've had the most experience with as a parent, of these coaches and professional athlete players and everything. And they're like, do not play baseball all year round. It's the worst thing for your body. You do not, don't forget to practice. It's games. Like, you could just tell that the people at the top know that the culture at the bottom is not going to serve their benefit in the long run. And I go back to my initial point. It's stealing their childhood. And it's very sad when you think about it that way. Quick break. When we come back, YouTube live chat poll, should America pursue acquiring Greenland in some capacity? We'll answer that question and throw in a few of your comments as well. So get on the Annie Fry YouTube live chat and leave us your comment. You can also vote there in the poll. Back in a minute.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X @AnnieFryShow.
Stewart's American Mortgage is the bagel loan guy. 314-324-4440. 314-324-4440. That's Stewie's cell phone. If you're getting a new mortgage this year through purchasing a new home or refinancing the current mortgage that you have right now, how about lowering your rate from the last couple years with a new mortgage from Stewie? Using the bagel loan, you'll pay $0 in closing cost in order to make that happen. This is a very smart move if you're looking to lower your rate, or if you're interested in taking some of that equity in your home out and using it to pay down debt, to make an improvement, whatever you need that equity for. A lot of us have more equity in our homes than we thought we would at this time. Inflation sucks, but there it is. You can reach out to Stewie and he can put you in the position to have the best economic success based on your particular situation. He will be honest with you, I promised. He was with me. 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan for more information. NMLS number 226715.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
You're mobile. We're with you on the radio or on the Odyssey app. Download it and take 97.1 with you, even outside the listening area.
Your home for conservative talk.
97.1 FM Talk. You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Appreciate you being with us this afternoon. I invite you to join us at AnnieFryShow.com. If you've ever been looking for the YouTube live broadcast, if you go to AnnieFryShow.com, it is up there. You can also access the podcast at AnnieFryShow.com/podcast anytime you are interested in checking out something you might have missed. It's right there. And it's easy to get to. Just go to AnnieFryShow.com. We listened to President Trump's press conference earlier in the show, or on the before the show. We aired it here during the Kilmeade Hour, and he took a lot of questions as well after the initial comments that he made about the investment took place. And I was just thinking about the comparison between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and Donald Trump's ability to think on his feet when he's doing a press conference. These are traditionally not people who are rooting for his success. In fact, they've been very much so participants in trying to pursue his failures. But I felt like the press conference today, people were asking genuine questions, and not in the way that I am used to them trying to set him up to fail. And you've got a question about the Panama Canal. You've got a question about the hostages. One of the things about that Donald Trump has said specifically in the press conference today, Brad, I don't know if you heard him talking about this, but he brought up the guy who he has leading the negotiations to get the hostages out of, the Hamas hostages that they took during October 7th. And he said that all hell will break loose in the Middle East if those hostages aren't freed before the inauguration. We've got 13 days until that happens.
Yeah.
Have you heard? I mean, what did Joe Biden say? Don't. Minor incursion. Well, we're still watching Ukraine and Russia fight a war.
Right, but more than that, his actions were things like, well, we need to make sure that we keep getting aid into Gaza and all these other things. And so everything that his words were saying one thing, and then his actions were telling two different stories. Yeah, he was supplying Israel with weapons, but on the other side of it, he was giving money and aid to not to Hamas, but to Gaza, and Hamas was immediately taking that stuff and confiscating it and using it for their own means. Joe Biden never had a clear message or clear direction on anything. He's like, we want the hostages home. And that's kind of about what it said. Yeah, you would hear Anthony Blinken come out every now and then be like, we think we're getting close. But most of their negotiation deals were basically insulting Israel for not doing enough to get the hostages back. And I just never saw that as valuable.
You know, Ethan, you were saying earlier in the show that, and I'm going to pull this clip up here in a second, but you were saying earlier in the show when Joe Biden starts to speak, you brace yourself for impact. When Donald Trump is up there, Donald Trump is not like a smooth talker. He's not the guy who goes up there and is an orator that you like listen to and you're like, oh, it's just so, he speaks so well.
Yeah. It's
actually kind of rough around the edges, but he does have substance when he speaks. What is Joe Biden doing right now? What is he? It's unbelievable. He's still the president of the United States.
So I think there's a difference between when I hear Donald Trump talk, yes, I think that they're definitely, it feels like, I guess, as someone that's taking in information, right? You have to understand that everyone is speaking with an agenda, right? When it comes to like the political side of things. Yeah. And when it comes to Joe Biden, I think that, it's probably most of the time it's below the line. You want to be able to, in certain situations, give the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, this is what he's going for. The same thing with Donald Trump, in that sometimes it comes off a little bit like a jerk or like prideful or like, I'm better than you.
Yeah.
That was a huge issue during his first term, I think, is that there was a lot of that, a lot of division. And I think that he's already significantly improved upon a lot of that. And I think that a lot of people, part of that has to do with a lot of people are no longer buying some of the BS that's been turned into. But there are people out there that is totally getting flipped with. They look at what Trump says and everything is, how can we make this the worst possible thing it could possibly be?
Yeah.
Right? And I think that that's a huge issue with how information is taken in right now. So, you can't have it both ways. Biden can't be this amazing, one of the best presidents we've ever seen, and one side being like, I can't even tell what he's saying.
Yeah.
And then Trump, who's, has his moments for sure, on the other side being said that, or people saying that he is one of the worst beings, people comparing him to Hitler, this terrible human being. It just doesn't make sense to me. And both sides, to a certain extent, are guilty of it. To say that one side's perfect and the other is not fair. But it just seems like so much of what political figures, specifically these guys, say tries to get twisted by the parties, and this is not fair.
I think what Americans are craving right now, which is going back to the conversation we had, we played that 5-minute whatever video from Mark Zuckerberg. I think what Americans are craving right now is reality and truth. And when this is making some people fall off their chair. Not a lot of them are listening to the show, but for those of you who are, thank you for being here. When I listen to Donald Trump speak, I don't see a politician who's trying to inject in my brain my thought process on the issue to the point where he's polishing everything so that I come out of his comments with a specific thought. I see him saying what he thinks, speaking on what he believes to be true and real, and then in the process of doing that, he speaks how he wants to react to it. That's how he functions. He assesses situations and he works to respond to them in the way that he deems best. And it's not always polished. It's not always clean. But it really comes down to this. I trust Donald Trump. I do not trust Joe Biden. I don't even know how much of Joe Biden's presidency really has Joe Biden's fingerprints on it. I can't watch Joe Biden navigate a particular issue and feel like, man, he's really got a command on this. He really has a strong feeling about the outcome that he wants to see happen. And then he comes out and tells us this is how it's going to be. All I see from Joe Biden is politics. 100% politics. All the time. So much so that if you go back to his inauguration speech and you listen to him talk about how he's going to be the unity president and how he's going to bring people together, in no way, shape, or form did he bring anybody together throughout his presidency. What he meant when he said that was that he was going to talk to the American people in a way that he was told that this progressive left is going to take this party in this country, and if you don't agree with it, you will be left behind and shamed for it. So the people that count are the people who are unified around whatever it is he does, says, and thinks. Or the people who are controlling his presidency does, says, and thinks. If you disagree with him, you will be left behind and shamed. And that's not a way to run a successful country, especially one that is in the ownership of its people, not of some government leader. The real question comes down to, are we in a position in this country with 13 days left with a president who has his hands at 10 and 2 on the wheel? And the answer is no. It's absolutely not. When we come back, I'm going to play that video, that sound for you of something that took place at the White House. It's just too funny not to play it. I got to play it. I got to show it to you. You got to see it. Join us on the Annie Fry YouTube channel if you want to watch this happen, but the audio is hilarious enough in and of itself. While you're over there getting prepped to watch that video with us in the next segment, the YouTube live chat poll: should America pursue acquiring Greenland in some capacity, yes or no? Let us know what you think. We want to hear from you. Leave us a comment on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. We'll be back in a minute.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Air Comfort Service, you find them online at aircomfortservice.com. Or if you want to jot this phone number down, stick it in your phone for that unfortunate time, of course, when you got to call the HVAC people. It's not like the phone call you want to make, get your air conditioner or furnace checked out, but it is one that if you don't make will end up costing you more in the future. 314-513-0091, 314-513-0091. That's a direct line to Air Comfort Service, and they will know that you call from Annie Fry Show when you reach out to them. Aircomfortservice.com is the website. Don't heat your home in an unsafe way. Don't put off those repairs because it's going to be dangerous, potentially more costly, likely. If you call the team at Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation for just $19 a month, you can become a member of their preferred partner plan. And with their preferred partner plan, you're going to get routine HVAC system checks, 2 each year, and they call to remind you to schedule them. You're going to get discounts on service calls, repairs, and new equipment. You're also going to get priority service, all for $19 a month, and your 12th month is free. 314-513-0091, aircomfortservice.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Greg Hammonds at greghammonds.com wants to remind you that if you pay for your own health insurance, open enrollment ends January 15th. If you are looking for coverage, do not go online looking for quotes. You'll get endless calls from call centers and they will not stop. Instead, call Greg, an expert with over 40 years experience, and he can provide sound advice for your health insurance needs. Their plans, if you qualify, let you pick your doctors, and it's 30 to 60% lower cost than Obamacare. The monthly premiums are independent of your income, so there will be no surprise tax bills. If you pay for your own health insurance, own a small business, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg at 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. They will custom design a plan managed by you, not the government.
Last call for the Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll. Should America pursue acquiring Greenland in some fashion, some capacity? Yes or no? Jump on Annie's YouTube page, vote in the poll. Tell us what you think and why you voted the way you voted, and we will probably read your comment on air. The time right now is 2:43. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. We are working several big stories. St. Louis cops in Forest Park ignoring a suicide victim. That audio is stunning. Tish, the mayor of St. Louis, traveling all over the world, spending more time on an airplane than her office. And the Kim Gardner audit is out from Scott Fitzpatrick. All that and more coming up right after Fox News at 3.
This is The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Welcome back. Good to have you here. I got to come up with. I should put Ryan in charge of this when he gets back. I need to come up with new ways in 2025 to bring people back into the show. I'll listen to other talk shows sometimes, national talk shows or even television shows, and people come back. You know exactly how they're going to say it or what they're going to say, and I always pick it up on when other people do it.
Mm-hmm.
I should be better. He should come up with some suggestions on ways I should come back into segments.
Ooh, that will be fun.
Ooh, welcome back. Thanks for being with us here on the Annie Fry Show.
Mm-hmm.
Sound boring. Any thoughts?
No.
No?
But as
No,
as
you're not.
Wiggins' replacement, I will work in the best fashion to basically
Embarrass
come
me?
up with with
If you're taking his
come up
decision.
with versions of whatever he says that are both better and younger
Yeah, okay. There you
and
go.
wiser.
I just bought a new cord for my headphones here have a cord because it is impossible to find cool looking wired headphones. Everything is Bluetooth.
Those ones are cool.
You're darn right they are, and I looked high and low for these, like years. Have you ever heard of Master and Dynamic?
No.
Neither had I. I saw them in the airport on the way out to the border at Lambert Airport. You know how they always have at the airport, they have, like, you can buy headphones there. Brilliant move, because if you go there and you realize you forgot your headphones and you're about to get on an airplane, you'll pay whatever to get headphones. And I saw these and I thought they looked really cool, but I was like, I'd never heard of this name brand. They're great. I love every bit of them. But they're not hardwired. I got to plug in a USB-C cord to my headphones.
Oh.
So over the course of time, plugging that in every day, unplugging it, plugging it in every day, unplugging it, eventually the cord gets a little shaky. And sometimes I have to wiggle the jack over here in order to make sure that it's functioning the way it is. So I just ordered a second cable because I feel like this one is just starting to go out. I want to have a backup cable so I'm not without them. Just the cable, a USB-C input to these headphones, and a 3.5 millimeter cord that goes into an adapter so that I can listen to these. $60.
Just the adapter?
Just the cord.
Oh my gosh. That's stupid.
How stupid is that? And I learned my lesson because I have a bag of cords at home when I was looking to replace this the first time. And I probably spent well over $60 because I was trying to get whatever I could the fastest I could so I could have my headphones functioning again. I just think that's outrageous.
What's the company again?
Master and Dynamic.
Well, maybe we can set up a little sponsorship thing here.
Yeah, for $60. What do you want? No. I did buy it off of my work-related expenses of money that I make here, so maybe that'll help me along the way. I wanted to play. I saved this specifically so that I could play it when you were in here, Ethan, because this is just extra special.
Uh-oh.
This is the cherry on the top of the Joe Biden White House experience.
That's an awful thumbnail picture.
No, it says everything you need to know. Just explain to us what you see there before I click play.
It looks like Joe Biden is screaming. But the way that his lips are curled around his teeth, it looks like he doesn't have teeth.
Or gums.
He is manhandling. I mean, looks like he's just got the ultimate squeeze to where he's not even aware of how hard.
The claw.
He is.
In possession of.
Gripping, in possession of. I mean, this kid can't be older than 20 years old.
Well, it's funny that you say that. What song does everybody know?
What song does everybody know? Oh, this is the happy birthday thing,
Have
right?
you heard this?
No.
You haven't heard this?
I have not heard this.
So, Joe Biden, and I will say this is charming until it goes all Joe Biden.
Until it's like, oh, God.
Yes.
Secondhand embarrassment.
I wanted to make sure that you got your full dose of secondhand Biden embarrassment today.
I'm ready.
He's honoring people. And, I hear today everybody can get a Presidential Medal of Freedom, but this looks like a very fine young man. He probably did something worthy of attention, but it happened to be his birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Oh, no.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Just stop singing. Just don't say, if you don't remember his name, why are you possessing this man with your right hand and asking people to sing happy birthday and then just going happy birthday, dear?
That has to be probably how his pardons are going too, right? He's like, I'm pardoning.
Who'd you tell me this next person was? George Soros? Okay.
Yeah,
line him up.
That's got to be how that's going too, right?
It's really something.
That was awesome.
He also doesn't, I mean, this is just like, I don't want to be like overly musically critical, but it's happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. The second line there is different than the first line. Not the Joe Biden version. He just sings the same line over and over.
Andy, your expectations are way too high. The fact that he said the words correctly to this, I'm because I was expecting like, oh God, how's he gonna screw this up?
How do you screw up happy birthday?
I mean, typically base level is you know the words, which it's the same line like 3 times over, 4 times over. I was worried Joe Biden wasn't going to be able to do that.
What's the words again? I can't read this here.
Yeah.
Pause. You know how like when you know the thing. You know how when you're at a family birthday celebration and it's a little bit extended family or whatever, and you're going happy birthday, dear, and it's grandma and mom and Susie.
Yeah.
And it gets to that point and everybody kind of says something different. Yeah, you expect that, but commit to something. Is there a generic, like if you're singing happy birthday to a group of people, is there an understood placeholder that could be used at any time?
I'll tell you the one my pastor uses.
Okay.
He sings God bless you. So happy birthday, God bless you.
That would make sense.
That
Probably
would
not
work.
out of Joe Biden's White House, but good for that. I like that.
No, I don't have one. I mean, normally if you're singing happy birthday for someone, don't you tend to know who you're singing it for?
The President of the United States does not.
Well, clearly, the President of the United States doesn't blank a lot of things.
Bobo says, or dear friend.
Dear friend's good.
I mean, even if...
Not much of a dear friend. Don't know their name.
Average friend. Don't you think, though, that shouldn't there be a commonly understood placeholder for that? When you're singing happy birthday to maybe a group of or multiple people?
No, because you shouldn't be singing happy birthday to anyone if you don't know their name.
Well, time out. Let me just set the stage here. What if you are, say, at a church and you've got 3 members of your church who have birthdays relatively close, and then as a church you want to sing to all 3 of them?
Yeah. You say, dear...
Ethan, Brad, and Annie.
Yeah, that's normal to stretch it out.
Right, but what if you have like 7 of them?
Do it L7. You could, and you could say them in whatever order, and it could sound like a mumble-jumbled mess. But if it was actually words and not...
That's the funny part, though. That's like the funniest part is when everyone's like, how are we going to go about this now? And everyone kind of just throws their names out there. That's kind of the funny part.
Joe Biden did not do so. But again,
poor execution.
At the same time, it's endearing.
Come on, Joe.
I give him credit for, like, he finds out, oh, it's your birthday, and then he says this. This is the funny part. It's not in this video clip, but he goes, "We have a tradition here in our White House. Who doesn't have the tradition of singing Happy Birthday? And we have the tradition of singing Happy Birthday and inserting said birthday person's name in the song. That is not a part of his tradition, apparently.
Guess not. I'm surprised they didn't find a way to make it racist or sexist or this offends some people because some people don't have birthdays.
You could say happy birthday, happy birthday. You could just repeat it.
Happy birthday
to you.
Woof.
Good try. A for effort?
No.
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 I feel like Joe Biden's version has to include Jack or something like that in it.
I asked this question of Ryan Wiggins yesterday, but wouldn't it be the true greatest comeback in political history if Joe Biden won in 2028?
Oh, yeah. Totally. Because he would have to, like, regain mental competence. And that is, like, that would be crazy.
It's really funny to me that you were the harshest on Joe Biden, and you're the one who said at the beginning of the show that you have embarrassment when he starts to speak.
Yeah, I do.
This is why.
I mean, he is so far gone. Like, I mean, he has no idea of anything he's doing, and it is so clear at this point, like, that he is just told where to go and what to do, and there is I mean, it's like a puppet. It's like people are like literally have him on
Yeah.
strings, and he's doing whatever they tell him. I mean,
I just want to see the people who are behind the camera, who as soon as you start singing Happy Birthday, I just want to see everybody going, oh my God, here we go.
but can you imagine when they thought that there was still a chance?
Yeah.
That was probably because now everyone
Yeah,
knows.
like Kamala did. She said so.
Everything is out now. But can you imagine back when before when the campaign was still going and CNN was all the deep fake stuff, and they were trying to turn it into something it really
Shameless.
wasn't. Can you imagine what they were doing then? Like, oh my gosh, this is not good. This is really falling apart. What do we? Yeah, exactly.
YouTube live chat poll for today. Should America pursue acquiring Greenland in some capacity? Yes or no? Joe on our live chat said, yes, get Greenland. Sounds like a movie title. If AOC is right about climate change, then we can all have some beachfront property to enjoy the end of the world. Ethan, do you have strong thoughts on whether or not we should try to make a play in some capacity of Greenland?
Yeah. Yes. Why not? Buy it.
Yeah. What's it cost?
do it.
That's what Elon Musk said when someone's like, buy Twitter. And he's like, how much is it?
I did hear that there's a rich amount of minerals and things that would be beneficial to acquire. But regardless of finding out that information, I was going to answer yes to this. Just for the fact of we own it.
Why
now.
not?
It's ours.
I'm
Ethan's
a yes.
an imperialist.
Are you a yes?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Brett, or Ethan, do you have the results?
I
pulled
do
up there?
have the results.
Give us the results.
248 votes for today's YouTube live chat poll. Should America pursue acquiring Greenland in some capacity? 79% of people are correct in saying yes, and 21% said no.
That's funny. 4/5 say, yeah, let's go get it. I think that's a pretty strong majority. I guess Donald Trump has the mandate he needs now to pursue said territory. Stick around here, The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, next.
The band fire, the whole gonna lose control tonight. What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart. So beat the drum with me.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. Waking up every day, lifting him from the bed to the wheelchair to the car to get him to therapy on time, it's no small task between